Okay.
All right, you guys should be able to hear me now. Let me adjust the audio so they can hear you. I think they should be able to hear you, right?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. Let me try speak again. Let me hear.
Okay.
Damn
Can
it!
you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I was just testing the audio. I was testing the audio. They can hear you.
Oh, okay. I got
All
you.
right, cool. How you guys doing? I see Meg is there. How you doing, Meg? I'm just chilling. I'm glad all the people that was watching, that was joining my stream yesterday. My plan is to do this more often, and to be more consistent. And I call myself a citizen journalist, because my goal is to pass the mic to the people, like to everyday people, like my homies, like pretty much the people I chill with and the people I vibe with mostly on social media, and the people I meet in my own personal life. I got a few plans I'll get some people on as well. So this, I got my boy Jay here. We was talking a little bit earlier about how we are feeling um, during this COVID crisis. A lot of people know that my family just got over COVID, and it's still rough for everybody. I mean, Kansas City is an area, largely black area, and they would know largely black people was hit by COVID. So we an area that
Hmm.
we've been one of the hot spots for a while in this region, and I'm thankful. Cause I can get a quick update as well. 'Cause I'm thankful because my stepdad, he tested negative yesterday. My mom and me, we remain asymptomatic, with no symptoms the whole time. So luckily we pulled through. So, but it's still a giant problem that, and once again, we still have a government. We have a group of oligarchs that literally
Hmm.
abandoned the American people. They abandoned them.
Yeah.
And Jay, you asked me, um, what is the one thing that made me more radicalized? Now, since we back live,
Hmm.
I turn that question right back to you, and I answer that.
Hmm.
What exactly turned you against the system and made you more radicalized and anti-establishment?
Hmm. Um, it's kind of interesting of a question. You kind of always, you kind of always have that inkling from when you're younger.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so a little bit backstory for me. Um, so I'm originally from Camden, New Jersey.
Right.
If anybody knows anything about Camden,
And
especially in the '80s and the crack epidemic,
whenever I hear New Jersey, I think one of the most corrupt areas in the United States when it comes to politics. They got one of the most corrupt
yeah.
Democratic senators, and he literally one of the most disliked
Hmm.
Democratic senators, like with Elizabeth Warren. Let me see. Let me.
Hmm.
I'm gonna type in. Do you know his name? I'm gonna look it up here. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Menendez, yeah, Bob Menendez. The other senator
Hmm.
to Cory Bush. I mean Cory Booker, not Cory Bush. Cory Booker.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's kind of what I think about when I think about New Jersey politics. I'm like, man, this is
Yeah.
horrible corruption, right?
Yeah. And so, um, back in the '80s, we moved here to Florida when I was very little, and I've experienced. Some people experience homelessness as an adult, I experienced homelessness as a child. So I
That's
know what it's like
horrible.
from a child's perspective. I know what hunger and being housing insecure is like as a child. So that plus I was also raised kind of heavily religious, but in the heavily religious way of the governments can turn on you in a dime. That's what I was taught. Um, because it's ran by man.
Right.
And so those things mixed, I was already leaning towards that radicalization, but hearing about certain policies that I felt in my gut just made more sense, but I couldn't verbalize and quantify it outwardly as to how it made sense. Like for instance, housing for all, Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, all these different policies, anti-imperialism. I couldn't explain them, but I always felt them deep and
Yeah.
within me,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so for me, it was just like when I first heard somebody speak about it, I was like, holy shit, wait. So I'm not crazy for thinking that everybody should have a house without worrying about being homeless. I shouldn't. I'm not crazy for thinking that everybody should be able to have food, healthy food to eat without worrying about ever going hungry. I'm not
Right.
crazy. And then I discovered a world of people who feel the exact same way as I do. And so I was excited about politics a year ago when I was a nice guy.
I hear you,
Now
brother.
I'm an angry motherfucker
We all rage a
because
little bit. Now, if you're not angry, you're
now,
not paying attention. But I hear you.
oh no, bruh, yo, you need to be, yo, you know that picture of Samuel L. Jackson when he look like an old man and he's in the wife beater and he's looking mad at you in the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, I use that a few times. I use that a few
Bruh,
times.
that's us. That's you and me, bruh.
That's literally me and you. Yep, that's exactly what that is. And people
Yes.
like, especially the white, affluent liberal class, they definitely don't
Hmm.
appreciate it. They definitely don't appreciate it. And people
No.
ask me, how do I accumulate the amount of blocks I did? It literally just being myself and
Hmm.
criticizing the oligarchy class, and having the life
Hmm.
experience that I had, and you having the life experience that you had. How can anyone
Hmm.
deny us of our anger at the system? So that's why I don't reflect at it like I'm wrong. I'm like, you guys are out of your mind if you think I'm being unreasonable when we have an oligarchy class that
Hmm.
take care of billionaires and corporations
Hmm.
and the military industrial
Hmm.
complex and weapon contractors. You're not gonna get mad at me when I complain about that. Like, are you out of your mind? Like, are you out of your
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
when you get mad at me for complaining about Barack Obama? Are you serious? You serious? Like,
Mm. Yeah.
the guy who was the deporter in chief, the guy who he recently just complained in his book, where he was saying he was mad that people were
Hmm.
protesting George Bush. So
Yeah.
he existed to serve corporate interests and the ruling class interests the entire time he was in,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the results of
Yeah.
his presidency was disaster in terms of black wealth.
Yeah.
And you see the kind of people that Joe Biden is aligning himself with now. It's gonna be disaster for black wealth now. Like my great friend on
Hmm.
Twitter. Let's see if I can find it again. I played it a little bit. I showed it yesterday, but it's always worth
Hmm.
showing. I'm pull it up. But they flown the guy who was responsible for um, for having kids that had to force hysterectomies on the border. Let me find it.
Yeah. Hmm.
1 second. But you see my main point that Joe Biden's cabinet picks and the direction they're going
Yeah.
right now, they're already going into the direction of
Hmm.
oppressing the minority class. So how
Mhm.
you gonna get mad at me when I go after these pigs? You know what I mean?
The problem the problem is that when people are asleep and they're having a nice dream, they don't want to be awakened. Okay.
Exactly.
Um, the Democratic Party and largely and liberals are an out of sight, out of mind party. Look at where they live. They live in the suburbs and the gated communities outside so that they don't see the hood. Okay. They they do some woke things just so that they can make themselves feel good. But then when it comes to their actual issues, they don't want to hear about it. This is why people like them, they block people like you because you're in their ear and you're saying, hey, there's something wrong. You guys need to fix this. You guys have the power because the Democrats aren't listening to us, they're listening to you. And yet, because you're bringing them out of their comfort zone, then they're like, oh, no. We can't do that. It's making me very uncomfortable. I got to block this guy. He's making too much sense. Block.
Yep.
That's the way it is.
That's
It's
exactly
out
how
of
they
sight.
are. That's exactly how they are.
Yes, it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't need
And
to worry about it. It's far removed from us.
that's pretty much summed up the tweet that I went over yesterday that kind of went viral with that lady that thought that she was fine for Black
Hmm.
Lives Matter because her dog. But this is
Hmm.
the guy that's her champion, and this is why I criticize him. Cause as a tweet here, you can see
Hmm.
that right. I'll share screen on Discord, so
Hmm.
you can see that right
Let me
on
see
Discord.
this.
It says the forced hysterectomies started under the guy Biden picked to be Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. But I pulled the tweet up on the stream. I shared it on Discord. Do you see it?
Hmm. I I can see it was very small
It's okay. Pretty
to
much
me.
what it
Go ahead.
said here. Is it better? Is it bigger now? Let me make it bigger for you. So do you see it better now?
A little bit,
It
but
does
I do
it,
have an astigmatism,
it's all
so
good. It's
it's
all
all
good.
good.
It's all good. It's a, pretty much the
Yeah.
whole situation with the forced hysterectomies on the border. The
Hmm.
guy who started that, Joe Biden, just picked him to be the Homeland Security Secretary. And anyone who
Yeah.
knows why abolishing ICE is so important, you gotta actually go after DHS first as well because they are in charge. That's the branch of government that's in charge of ICE. So you literally Joe
Hmm.
Biden appointing someone who started this human rights tragedy. Human rights tragedy.
Hmm.
He started.
Hmm.
And this
Hmm.
is why liberals they have no moral center, and this is why I have no tolerance for them because they will explain why ICE is evil and why ICE commits human rights violations. But then I'll be like, all right, let's abolish it. Then they're like, no, we can't do that. What? You just said you just said it's a racist system. So how you just say we can't abolish it after you acknowledge that it's violating human rights, violating they literally breaking the law as well because they literally had a lawsuit that showed that they had violated and had slave labor at their camps. Like, and they was like, bro, you can't do
Hmm.
that. They're like, you can't do that. What the hell are you
Yeah.
doing?
Everybody says something until it comes time to really act on it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will say, well, you do that one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face. And then they do it one more time. And then what they do? They do nothing. Or if you say that one more time, I'm going to scream. And then they don't scream. It they do. It's like, oh, well, that's a racist system. Let's abolish it. Wait, what? What? I don't know. We can do. That means that they're okay with it. That
Exactly.
means that there is some inherent racism that's deep within them that has been unresolved that they never actually had to look at. This is why they hate people like us, especially black leftists, because we take their bullshit and we show it to them in their face because they can't bullshit us because we have the experience and we are black. We've been black all of our lives, and we've been living inside this racist system. So we can tell them straight to their face. It's not anecdotal to a point where it's from somebody else's perspective. It's our own. So when they say they're not, just like we used to say back in the 90s, they ain't about it.
Right.
I'm not sure if you're, I mean, I'm a little older than you, so,
Really?
But they were never about it, And
I had no idea. I thought you were younger than me.
They say that. But
I'm not gonna make you reveal it, but I'm like, man, I'm about to be 30. I got some life experience on me, son. But go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to know.
Well, I'm 36, so.
I feel you. Yeah, you got me. I got that.
Yeah,
I guess I'm a little brother in this situation then, huh?
A little bit. But you wise beyond your years. Yeah. I'll definitely give you that. But,
forgive she.
But they, like the point I was making, they say it's all rhetorical. It's no different than their leaders. With Biden, it's rhetorical. With Warren, it's rhetorical. With Pelosi, it's rhetorical. It's always rhetorical. They say that they're all for these things, but they're never really for it. When push comes to shove, when the chips are down.
There's a question. I think Meg asked it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I got my friend Meg in here. I saw that segment. I don't know if you saw the segment about Crystal Ball and affirmative action they did on Rising. Do you see that?
I was this close to watching it, but for some reason I just
didn't pull the trigger.
I rarely watch Rising anymore because for some reason I just don't feel compelled to watch it as much.
It depends on the subject matter that they're talking about. I was just so happy. It was just so happened because I was cutting my hair. And when I was cutting my hair, I was just watching this clip while I was doing
every metric.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can get the best part. Like, I hope I don't get in trouble. Like, I don't know what they, what the rules are. Hopefully you can hear it. I mean, hopefully you can see it. But if not, you can at least hear it, right? I mean, the visual's not too important. I'm gonna play it so you can see it.
Okay. All right.
I hope I
had a chance to dig into yet was the clear rejection by California voters of affirmative action. That's a measure in that state which would have ended the 1990s era ban on the practice in hiring and public university admissions, and it lost in a 15-point landslide. In fact, the only places with majority support for that measure were LA and in and around San Francisco. Rest of the state, not having it whatsoever. In places like Fresno, for example, a working class city that's roughly half white and half minority, the measure failed by a margin of 2-1. Keep in mind, too, affirmative action's failure in California came against the backdrop of many other progressive priorities finding widespread support. From a $15 minimum wage hike in Florida to a tax hike on the wealthy in Arizona to ranked choice voting in Alaska, progressive ballot initiatives overall had a pretty good night.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it now.
Okay.
Now, some activists have blamed the wording on the particular affirmative action ballot initiative, but as David Leonhardt points out over at the Times, affirmative action has actually failed in every single state where it has been tested at the ballot box over the past 30 years. So clearly, even in a state that votes overwhelmingly and routinely for Democratic candidates, a state which went strongly for Bernie Sanders in the primary, affirmative action is downright toxic. So what should we take from this? How should we think about it? Well, let's start with this. It's an obvious point, but often overlooked. A policy's popularity and its merit are two very distinct things. Not only do I have no problem with parties and politicians advocating for some unpopular positions, but I've actually got a lot of contempt for the ones who just follow the poll numbers and don't stick their neck out on anything as a matter of principle. It's easy to think of morally righteous positions, which were completely unpopular at the time, but proven correct ultimately by history. Bernie, of course, famously was on the unpopular side of a whole lot of issues throughout his career, from war to trade to gay rights, and he was correct and righteous in nearly every instance. However, I will say that while policies should certainly be judged on their merits, rather than their popularity. There's something a little odd and very white savior patronizing about the fact that affirmative action appears to be most popular among white liberals and viewed with indifference or even contempt among the very racial minorities it's supposed to aid. So the 14 majority Latino counties in California, they all rejected that affirmative action ballot measure.
Yeah,
every single one of them. If the people that the policy is supposed to benefit don't actually see the benefit, then what exactly are we doing here? It's like if straight people had been the ones pushing gay marriage while gay people were like, actually, we're good with civil unions. Or if it was mostly white people super hyped about a diversity pick for the vice presidential slot, just as one theoretical example here, you might reconsider your position if the folks you're aiming to help seem very uninterested in the flavor of help that you were actually offering. In fact, the more you dig into the policy, the more it kind of seems like it's about making affluent white people feel good about themselves and about the elite institutions and environments that they inhabit, much more so than it really is a project of justice. Look, obviously the largest and most powerful program of affirmative action is for the rich, whose parents can afford to dole out big donations to top-level schools and benefit from a privileged legacy status, not to mention who grow up with the tutors and resources and counselors to get them into those schools to begin with. But that elite experience would be so much less enjoyable if you were truly faced with how completely exclusive the elite training pipeline really is, and how much more it has to do with your parents' bank account than it does with little Johnny's great promise. So diversity has been sold to affluent whites, not really as a project with the end goal of justice, although the trappings of that are nice and make them feel really good, but as a sort of lifestyle brand. And diversity has also been sold on a strictly transactional level, too, as something that is actively beneficial to you and your kid. And that matters. Here's why. In the podcast Nice White Parents, they tracked the multi-decade history of one New York City public school, and it was actually kind of remarkable. White parents in the 60s were sold diversity exactly this way as a transaction good for them and their kids, and they lobbied aggressively for the local school board to locate this new public school in a zone right between the white neighborhood and the black neighborhood so that their kids might attend a diverse school. Once the school opened, however, none of the white families actually showed up. Why? Because when they were faced with the reality that the black students had been suffering through substandard, underfunded schools and were thus behind the white kids, and they realized that diversity could impose some cost on their own children, then they were out. Their relationship to diversity was purely transactional, and the second they felt they weren't getting a good deal, they were gone. Affirmative action is the type of program that poses little threat and only benefits to affluent white liberals. It's the college admissions version of identity politics, more about getting brown faces in high places to make white people feel good than it is about actually addressing the very real problems that it seeks to ameliorate. It's almost axiomatic that any policy supported overwhelmingly by brunch liberals is unlikely to really forge any structural change or justice. But let's look at the data anyway. So, affirmative action does, in fact, marginally improve black and Latino admissions into elite universities. According to Matt Iglesias, after affirmative action was banned in California in the 90s, the number of black students at UC Berkeley fell from 6 or 7% to just 3%, and Latinos make up only about 15% of Berkeley's freshman class, even though they are actually a majority of public school graduates in that state. So, by that metric, affirmative action is successful. But just getting more minorities into high-level colleges, that's not actually supposed to be the goal. The goal is supposed to be reducing the racial wealth and income gap, and on that metric, affirmative action has been a complete failure. In fact, after generations of racial preferences in college admissions processes, the racial wealth gap is larger now than it was back in 1968. So the policy is not particularly effective, it's politically toxic, and is rejected by voters everywhere and every time that it's tried, and it fuels racial resentment among the multiracial working class. But you shouldn't just throw up your hands and declare that these massive inequalities between races and between classes have to stand. In fact, any universal programs which disproportionately benefit the poor and the working class are, in fact, racial equity programs. As Iglesias points out, in Florida, where a $15 minimum wage just passed, a majority of black and Latino Floridians will benefit as they currently earn less than that rate. He also points out that researchers say 20% of the 1960s decline in the black-white wage gap came from the 1966 lifting of the minimum wage. Eliminating college debt would actually disproportionately benefit minorities. Black students are more likely to be burdened with college debt and take on larger loads on average than their white counterparts. Look, I can certainly imagine racially targeted policies which may be unpopular, but are just and are worth fighting for, and worth dealing with the white racial resentment and backlash over. On the merits, however, affirmative action just doesn't make the cut. And those numbers that Iglesias pulled about the way how much minimum wage increases due to alleviate racial inequity,
right,
so much more.
We don't have to hear the part where Crystal and Sire talk about it. We can just do our own post analysis. We can just her main spiel was. I mean, she came with the facts. I mean, you guys gotta understand. Yeah. You guys gotta understand where I come from, right? I'm gonna let them know I'm about to talk about this because I think this is a very important subject. Because I've seen a lot of people mad at Crystal, and I'm not even gonna 100% defend her. I'm gonna say talking about. I'm just trying to get some more people in here. I appreciate all the people that are watching. We got some pretty good action going on in the chat. I'm gonna get to the question here soon. That I see in the chats here. They talking about affirmative action with Jay. Tag you in there too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I need to advertise more, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I literally was talking about the failures of capitalism for the Black American class on my live stream yesterday. But fuck it, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay. We're gonna fucking do it again.
Shit, let's do it.
Fuck it.
All right.
Fuck it.
Cool.
So, if you think affirmative action is 100% necessary and what we need, I come at this from a libertarian socialist perspective. You understand that? Mm-hmm. So, where I come from, like, okay, if it works, if a government program justifies itself, I'm for it. And the problem at its core is capitalism. And affirmative action, at the end of the day, is cleaning up capitalism and trying to make capitalism not a racist system. But capitalism is inherently a racist system. And no matter what you do, you're not going to clean it up. You know how I know that? You know that Black racial income inequality right now, not right now, it's worse right now, but as of 2016, so this is before even the pandemic, which hurt Black people the most. 2 out of 5 Black small businesses closed since the start of the pandemic, which is 3 times higher than the white businesses, by the way. So Black health already tanked, but as of 2016, Black income inequality was worse than it was at the start of the Civil Rights era. So the Black boomers who think that the Civil Rights movement was over and that we was done, explain to me, how was the job done when we are at the same spot we was before the Civil Rights movement in terms of income inequality? They got I have a number here in my notes, but in 1960 we had 9.2% of their wealth. Now we have 8.6%. So only thing you guys did was replace one racist system with another one. Am I correct, Jay? How you think? What are you thinking about this? That's how I come as a libertarian socialist, and I can expand on that a little further, but I want to let you get in before I ran too long.
No, I got you. When it comes to certain policies, especially like college for all, like tuition-free public college for all, Medicare for all, bringing democracy into the workplace, all these different things. It would deem affirmative action laws unnecessary if we had these policies in place, because then it would naturally reflect the way we are in the United States as far as proportion.
Right.
You have people being put in high places because they have the same amount of melanin in our skin but I see Crystal's point, because when it comes right down to it, I said this in a tweet, and sorry if my thoughts are a little bit choppy here, but
no, it's good, bro. We just chilling. We just chilling.
But
this is not like a high intensive TV interview. We just chilling on stream.
Yeah.
So go ahead, bro. You killing it.
Yeah. But I said in a tweet, I think it was yesterday, every single labor law that has been passed is a barrier against capitalism.
Yep.
To make capitalism not as harsh. Affirmative action is kind of, sort of trying to be that. It's like a wet towel trying to grab a hot pan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
So whenever you try to grab, a hot pan with a wet towel, it's still going to burn through. So
yeah,
you're still going to feel it. And the problem is that on the surface, it tackles the issue, but it doesn't really tackle the issue. It's as rhetorical as liberals are when it comes to racism. It's as rhetorical as Biden saying that healthcare is a human right. That's what it is. So it kind of leans into it, but it doesn't really go there. You know what I mean? For rights of people. And as you so eloquently said, capitalism is really the underlying force, which is really the issue here.
Yeah.
And
that's what the liberals, they won't go that far. They won't. That's why a lot of people getting upset with Crystal at this segment. And if you predicted that I would be upset with her, I get I know why, but I'm a little bit more open-minded than a lot of people give me credit for. So, and in terms of what you have to do to exist in this existing system, because I hate when conservatives like, oh, you a socialist, but you got an iPhone. What the fuck they gotta do anything? So,
it's like, look, I'm cool with Apple. I would just like for all the workers to own the means of production so that they can make the Apple phones and make profit,
my argument,
distribute it among all themselves. That's what I want.
My argument, I was like, bro, get out of my way then, because I want to fix it. I want to fix it. Oh, my Discord will be back here soon. There you go. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, but I'll let you get in my way and I'll fix it then. It's not like I'm complicit with you by doing that. So my point being, affirmative action was just another way you can try to patch up a failed system already known as capitalism, a system that crashes every 10 years. I told you guys, I said I'm about to be 30, and capitalism crashed two times before I turned 30. And then you got some boomers who've been brainwashed by corporate media and their CIA talking points and their capitalists that they hire on their cable news shows. And then they
crashed 3 times for me.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah, exactly.
3 times.
Exactly, brother. Exactly.
Because it crashed in the 80s, in the late 80s. I think it was 86, 87.
Yeah, I was 91.
And I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And then it crashed 2 more times. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't understand, like, boomers will see their retirement savings go away, and they still will put trickle-down economics. Someone explain it to me. Like, bro, there's I'm going to do a story here soon about the opioid epidemic, the drug problem that's going on throughout the country. One of the big companies, they were literally got charged with literally being complicit and getting people sick and making them addicted to their drugs. So that's kind of like the real corrupt happenings in our government. A lot of people don't even talk about. I got that story here loaded up. So when we talk about affirmative action, I'm like, that's just one way you can try and clean up this already broken system. And that's what Crystal Ball pointed out, because when you actually get to the heart of the matter, when you want to get to like the really hard hitting solutions that you really need, they don't want to do that, because once again, I'm looking at our black leaders. I'm looking at the Black Congressional Caucus. I'm looking at people that push these trickle down economic policies. And
Lord, the CBC.
Yeah,
you down with CBC? Hell no, you know me.
My congressman Emmanuel Cleaver, he was talking about the Heroes. He was talking about the Heroes Act. He was bragging about how well the Democrats handled this pandemic. Meanwhile, 2 out of 5 black businesses closed throughout the course of this pandemic, and it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Like, we haven't seen winter yet. It is. Let me see if I can pull up that. I kept this saved. Yeah, I don't have to pull it up for real, but let me read it. Two out of 5 black businesses already closed, and this is what Jeff Stein tweeted out. He said, after the election, U.S. faces dark winter. Enormous unemployment program with 4 million that's gonna expire. That unemployment program. They got protection for renters, student borrower, people that have student loans. That's about to expire in December. You have the Obamacare at the Supreme Court, and remember, Democrats lost the Supreme Court, so good luck with that. So that's gonna get real. Oh. December 11th, the government shutdown is gonna happen. So you got Mitch McConnell, you got Donald Trump, you got the Democrats. Good luck on them. Good luck on them coming to agreement on that. 40% of restaurants, 60% of hotels about to close. And guess who businesses those going to be? Yeah, and 1 million travel jobs. Go ahead.
Yo, you know why I'm laughing? Because this shit is so fucked up. It
is so fucked up, isn't it? It is fucked up. I be trying to tell people, like, people wonder why, like, that one of those celebrities they tweeted out. Actually, who was that? I gotta find the tweet where he was like, she tweeted this out last week. She's like, I was just thinking about how the government actually abandoned the American people in the middle of a pandemic. And that tweet got like 100,000 likes. It was a good tweet, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm like, bro, I've been saying that since the summer. I'm like, bro, we was calling for the general strike, and we was being delusional when we thought that we can actually shut shit down. And I was like, bro, we can't get no one involved in this. And this is a good point that Richard Wolff made, because we don't have the same leverage that the workers did in the 30s, because our labor unions was destroyed. So we have no way to really protest the corporations anymore. So I've been calling for this since in summer. Everyone was like, bro, how you gonna call for a general strike? You crazy, bro. You crazy. How you know what that means? You gonna shut down the government? I'm like, yes, bro. Do you know what's going on? Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do.
Shut down the government. You shut down the corporations. You cut them off. Then they have nowhere to go. Look, that tweet. Yes, it was a great tweet.
Yeah, I'm not hating on the tweet. I'm just saying, it's you got. I've been calling that for a while.
You late to the
ago.
Party, bro.
Yeah, you hella late to the party, but welcome aboard. I guess. I hope Joe Biden doesn't make people go to sleep, but it's impossible to go to sleep when you're living through this, because once again, the service workers that was hurt the most throughout the COVID, guess who is a large percentage of the service workers? Latinos and blacks. Those are the base that the Democratic Party needs to win. Now, combine that with the fact that there was literally a poll that came out where 60-70% of the Republican voters want Trump to run again in 2024. Imagine if Joe Biden allows these people to go through this hell that I'm literally just laying out by implementing austerity politics that he did throughout the course of his entire career. He literally implemented austerity, like in 2008. I talked about this on my stream yesterday. You know what I'm talking about? I digged into this because I wanted to look into the relationship between Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell. In 2008, Barack Obama put Joe Biden in charge of negotiating with the Republican Senate in order to pass relief and pass the stimulus bill in 2008. And then Joe Biden, because he is a fiscal conservative, he was giving so much leverage to Mitch McConnell. You had literally blue dog Democrats like Steny Hoyer. You literally had Dianne Feinstein come out like, bro, what are you doing? Like, bro, why are you giving so much leverage to, like, literally the worst corporatists that we have? There was an article that I'm gonna do a story on this so I can share it publicly. But there was literally an article that came out at the time where it was like Democrats like, yo, I feel like we're not getting enough in the relief package, and they didn't call out Joe Biden by name, but Joe Biden was responsible for negotiating that package. So I'm like, bro, we in that same situation in 2008 as we are in now. Mitch McConnell just won his race by a landslide. Republicans kept the Senate, so he about to be the majority Senate leader. And now you got Joe Biden, who's about to be the head in chief, negotiating with this guy. And remember, the people he got lined up for his cabinet, Rahm Emanuel, Larry Summers, the economic advisors, they was the advisors during the Wall Street crash 2008, and they was the people who wanted to implement the kind of economic policies. So, good luck. This is why I've been calling for a drone strike for 3 months, because I said no matter whether Trump or Biden wins, we're going to have the same people who was in charge when the economy crashed the first time. So, what can you do? What can you do? So, he can do some cool stuff like cancel student debt. Like, people like, he'd cancel like $10,000 of student debt. He was $50,000, but he walked it back, of course. So, okay. You
he's going to walk it back even more to zero.
You canceled $10,000 of student debt, but on top of the crisis we talking about, how much that really how much are we talking about, bro? We talking about people losing their house. We talking about people losing their job, people losing their wages. There was the Economic Policy Institute. They did a number, and large majority of black workers lost wages throughout the course of this pandemic. That happens every 7 years whenever the economy crashes, and that's happening again. So, are you actually going to do something to fix that? I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
And can I address something? I've been seeing a lot of Democrats online saying, "Oh, we need to cancel student debt because that's going to help the economy." And I hope they're watching, because I got a message for them. Most Americans aren't college graduates.
Exactly.
So therefore, if we didn't go to college, guess what? We don't have student debt. If we don't have student debt, and if you cancel that debt, then how in the hell is it going to help us?
He said, the comment said...
It's mind-boggling. It's like these people are... What are these people doing in the back of the congressional building? Huffing glue? I mean, my God, these people are dunce. And not just some of the people who are liberals. Some of these people who are part of the squad are saying things like this. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. You're not calling for UBI. You're not calling for Medicare for all. What the hell is going on? Like, has the wages from Congress been so affluent that it poisoned your mind? So now you're starting to think like the rest of the liberals do?
That's exactly
like, look, Jamal Bowman, Corey Bush, you guys better stay away from some of these people, because they're going to corrupt you within less than a year. Because all they're saying now is, I mean, they are saying some good things, but at the same time, it's like, wait a minute. Just because you went to college doesn't mean that most of us went to college.
I like what
a lot of us, people like me, I avoided college just because I wouldn't get into debt. But now I'm still stuck in the same shitty situation. So what are you going to do to help me?
Amen. They said, they were like, bro, you preaching. Oh. That was Meg said.
Oh.
They say you preaching.
But yeah.
And I'm like, and people was like, are you going to give, I'm like, I'm not going to give Joe Biden credit for fixing a problem that he solved that already took its toll on our community already. Because the bankruptcy bill, he literally he voted against resolutions that would ease burden against people with student debt. He's literally
I'm not going to give a man credit for causing the problem in the first place.
Exactly. And A1 in chat is like, yeah, cancel student debt up to 10,000 people for qualifying, quote unquote, students. That's nothing. That's nothing. That was set fire and bang. And
nobody.
Yeah. They already means testing it. It's not even. Thank you for the follow. Like, you understand the point of canceling all student debt. See, this is what I tweeted this a few times before. I tweet about this. I said, liberals are deeply unserious people because they don't even understand the point of our policy ideas. So I'm gonna
they don't.
now talking. So I'm gonna break that thought down. I'm gonna advertise it, talking about student debt, since this is in the news. Talking about student debt. I appreciate the chat is fire right now. Chat is fire right now. Oh, I almost tweeted the wrong link. So the topic is the reason why you cancel all student debt and not just a little bit of student debt, because you gotta ask yourself this question: what does canceling just a little bit of student debt accomplish? Canceling all student debt boosts the economy. Do you understand me? Hey, Mr. Joe Biden, Mr. I care about science. I care about facts and statistics. Canceling all student debt boosts the economy. You know why? I mean, I know you know why, Jay. But because if you free up income for everybody, so what they were doing, they mean testing it. So for we to only do $10,000 for qualifying students. Bro, you have doctors, you got lawyers, you got high income earners who are making a lot of money, but they got hundreds of thousands of dollars of student debt. Free their income up so they can invest. And then once again, you clear all student debt. So who got the most student debt on average on percentage? Black people. So you wipe all the debt off, not just a little bit. Wipe all the debt off. We can invest our communities. We can invest in our small businesses, and that's how you grow the economy. It's not rocket science. This is just basic economics, like basic progressive economics that they pretend doesn't exist, and they want to act like we are the delusional people, that we are extreme. I'm following the science. I'm completely objective when it comes to politics, believe it or not. But the science says, and common sense tells me, that if you cancel all student debt, that frees up income. And who's that money going to? It's going to these fucking loan sharks that not invest into their community. Again, a very few amount of people rich and not serving our country anything. So once again, as a libertarian socialist, you got to justify anything to me. And how is having a grapple hold on the entire economy and holding the entire generation hostage when it haven't always been that way? This is extreme system that we have now compared to when we ever had. Like, go back in the day, my mom, my grandma, their generation, they didn't go to school and cost them a fraction than what it does now. So how does just who making this money? They taking this money for our communities when we have student loan debt. So once again, I'm all about the working class and A1 in general. So even I hate billionaire class. I don't like millionaire class. But when you got doctors and you got lawyers, you got professors at college universities, you got librarians, like ordinary working people. I mean, they make a lot of money, but they paying a ton of student loan debt money. And that money, once again, go in the economy. They can be buying houses, they can buy boats, they can be investing in black businesses. There's so much things you can actually do with that money instead of just loan sharking into some greedy loan debt motherfuckers, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my spill on that. Like, it doesn't make no sense.
Sally make him fuck off.
Austerity politics makes no sense.
Yeah.
And they wonder why they say, they say, why you say Nancy Pelosi is like a Margaret Thatcher Democrat? Because that Margaret Thatcher economics. Like, you guys are copying Reaganomics. You guys copy down trickle down economics, and you guys call yourself progressives.
Yeah, it's just rebranded.
Like how that makes sense? How we got some good viewers in here. How y'all feel about chat? Because that's a inherently progressive economic system. Because once again, black people, we take out a larger percentage of student loans because we have way less wealth than average families. So we have 15 times less wealth than white families. We have 18, 19 times less wealth than Asian families. And we're just slightly behind Latino families. I don't know the exact percentage there, but we like pretty neck and neck, but we much lower than them overall. So if you don't have wealth and you don't have income, you can't pay for college yourself. You don't have a father, you don't have a mother that can pay for the student loans for you. So if you don't have a mother, you don't have someone who pays your student loans, what you gotta do? You gotta take out loans, like I had to do because I didn't have parents that can pay for it for me. So that's why I went through student debt. I ain't paying y'all. So that hurt my credit. And then when that hurt your credit, guess what? Now you're paying more for your rent, you're paying more for your loans, you're paying more for your car bills. So the system we're in right now is inherently regressive because the people who are making the less amount of money, the people who got the lowest credit rating, which I think should be abolished, they paying the most. Because people ask me why I was radicalized by capitalism. I was radicalized by capitalism because I used to sell cars. And I'm like, bro, this shit makes no fucking sense to me, bro. Because I'm selling cars to people who are making $250,000, $500,000 a year. They buying like the 4Runners, they buying the Land Cruisers and stuff, and they getting like 0%. Like they getting these special deals because they got great credit because they got a lot of wealth. And then I got black customers that come in, a single parent, and it breaks my heart every time. And so I tell people like, bro, there's some car salesmen that suck, but I'm like, bro, I'm fighting for you guys. I feel bad because I'm literally I'm a comrade. I be trying to fight for these people, but I can't get them proof, so they assume that I'm the bad guy. I'm like, bro, I'm on your side, dude. I'm like, not all car salesmen suck. I'm on your guy's side. Mm-hmm. So the bank will either reject them or they be paying like 15-20% on interest. Compared to the wealthy family who never had credit issues, they get 0%. They get 5%. 5%. They will go crazy. They get 5%, and I got 7% on my car now, and I'm like, fucking bad, because I've seen how the system works, and that's the only thing I can afford. Because once you get student loans, fuck my credit up. Like this is and the propaganda they make people think it's their fault, but this is a broken system. like everyone can fall into it. Like look at the numbers. Like I was sold cars and people wonder why the car business tanked. Like salesmen not making nowhere near the amount of money they used to make. Managers not making the amount of money they want to make, and they all capitalists. Like how you to be a capitalist? You seeing this shit fail? You know why? You know why we wasn't making more money? You know why we couldn't sell more cars? Because we didn't have wealth. You had student loan debt. Because so back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, you had people in their 20s who would buy new cars, which will help us out as salesmen. And they'll help them out. They had a new car, they'll establish their credit. But now we have so much student loan debt, and we making such terrible wages. Literally, no one our ages are buying new cars. Like, every time I sold a new car, it was some rich oligarch motherfucker who was in his 50s or 60s who've been building wealth and who've been doing this for a long time. You want to tell me this system work?
Yo, I identify everything that you just said because I was literally in furniture sales before I stopped working.
So we've seen it.
So I used to sell furniture and mattresses, which is basically the second most highest ticket item you can get besides a car. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've seen it. It would break my heart, and you can almost kind of tell like who came in and who who's there to actually buy, because you would get people in who were of lower means, and then as soon as they came inside the store, sticker shock immediately. They would be like, especially people who they need a mattress, and the mattress is an extremely important piece of furniture.
It is.
And I used to sell mattresses, so
we used to do hand-me-downs where we come from. That's the only way we get it.
Bruh, that was me my entire life was hand-me-down.
I never bought a new couch my entire life. Once again, and who does that hurt? That hurt furniture stores, right? So instead of me getting hand-me-downs, it would help the furniture store if I was able to go in the store and buy. So once again, who's the serious one in the room? You trickle down economic pushers or us, the people who understand this? But go ahead, bro. But I thought that was a very important point that you brought up.
Yeah, and you made a good point too. And so, like for instance, they'll come in, and my job is to try to upsell as much as possible because that's what we have to do.
Yep.
Even though I know this person can't afford it, I have to put them in the best of the best, so that it puts like a fire in them to try to get it. It's kind of weird the way the mentality works, because then you kind of have to make them you have to put them in a position where they do more in capitalism just so that they can afford the best of the best. It's crazy. So once you put them in there, and then they ask about the price, and they're seeing that mattress, which is, it's not even premium brand. It's like your mid-level brand is $5,000. They're like, what the fuck, $5,000 for that mattress? I'm like, they're like, is this the most expensive one? They're like, no, this is like the mid-level. I haven't even got you to the ones with the adjustable base. And so next thing you know, they're like, holy shit, like I can't afford that. And then they want the cheapest of the cheap. That's like $300, $400. And they're even shocked at that being $300, $400 for our cheapest mattresses. And next thing you know, they try to apply for credit and they get turned down, and you spend all that time with them, and then they have to walk out the door and you don't have no sale. And it breaks your heart because number one, it's something that's inherently a need, but at the same time, because your arms are tied to this capitalistic system,
Right.
you can't really help them out. And you can try to give them all the discounts you want, but in the end,
Dude, we honestly would
you're in a
try.
business where you have to make profit.
Yeah, the thing is with car sales, like, bro, it's competition is harsh, and especially with the way things change.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The way things change, like, bro, we had someone who was low income, that we would try our best to try to give the car away. The problem is people got realistic budgets, and like when they don't have good credit, they have to kind of go for a new car, because believe it or not, it's hard to get a loan out on a used car, and if you do, you gotta pay a shit ton of interest. And people will get mad at me for saying that. I'm like, bro, I'm not against you, bro. I'm just trying to tell you this is how it is. Unfortunately, our system's broken. I wouldn't tell them that. But come on, bro, how y'all not come to that conclusion? But I'm like, unfortunately, we need to try and go to a new car, and we can try to see if we can save you some money. But then we'll give them like a $20,000 car. We got to try and get them put into the new, and the car payment be like $300-$400. And I'm like, bro, we literally did all the discounts and shit we can do. We take a little bit more off, and now at this point we in the red. Now I'm making only $100 for this whole sale at this point. So we gotta take that deal if we can. But either they get declined because once again the system failed them, or they accept that, and once again they're not high income. So you got a big car payment that you're paying extra interest on, because we couldn't give you anything lower than that because we barely got you approved. So they're taking a giant percentage of your income compared to the wealthy family. What percentage of that income did that take out of the white wealthy family? They can get something super expensive. They're still taking like what, 2-3% out of this dude who making $300,000 versus the average black family. I mean, the median income like $50,000. So if you could divide that out, house of two, they're making usually around $25,000-$30,000 a year when they got a job. Because the average medium job, that like 60% of workers make under $30,000 a year. So take 60% of that population, put them in that same car payment. That's a high percentage of their paycheck that's going towards a car payment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you got the rent, and then we pay our rent, and then how much of that rent is going out of your paycheck? And then you got, and then let's say you got kids, you got to pay for diapers, and you got to pay for daycare if you don't have anyone to babysit. So there's a different level of quality of life that the average working class person who making, once again I said 60% make $30,000 or less, and then even higher make $50,000 or less, compared to the people who I'm working, who's selling cars, who get 0%. Who get 1-3% on their car deals. They get 5%, and then they get 5% on their car deals, and they get pissed. And I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, dude, that's good, bro. And they think I'm hustling. They're like, you're just trying to be a hustler. Like, bro, 5% is fucking good. But I'm not hustling, bro. I'm like, bro, they actually, like, people not getting, like, ordinary working people don't get that often. But that, once again, that's my point.
Oh yeah.
That's my point about capitalism.
Like I had a credit card that was at 29% interest.
Yeah, that's exactly. Look, oh my god, credit card is the AOC. That's why I gave her props, because they had that usury bill that she came.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I'm like, yeah, AOC pissed me off sometimes, but you guys gotta give her credit when she do stuff like that. Come on, be fucking real, because that's something that impacts.
I do give her credit for that.
Yeah, I know you do. Like, I'm talking about in general. Like, people get mad whenever, like, people know I criticize her, but people get mad whenever I give her credit. And I was like, bro, she put out the usury bill, and she put out the legislation. She worked pretty well in her community. So, yeah, she could do some stuff better, but overall I think she's a net positive. We just got to keep pushing her. Just don't stand her. I hate people that stand people in general. But, yeah, that's why that's important, because credit card rates and credit card bills on black families are higher than anyone else, because we got, once again, we don't got the generational wealth. We don't have an income, so we pay higher credit rating than the average family do.
Yeah.
And that's how we get caught. And Meg, she brought up in the chat, she said that's the poverty poverty trap, and that's literally the perfect way to put it. Literally perfect way.
Thank you, Meg.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the chat. I'm gonna get to the chat here soon.
Yeah.
Plus, I literally got a lot of stories. Though we've been like, this is a good time, because I still haven't even gotten to the stories yet. we got plenty. You can chill as long as you want. Cause I'm just kind of chilling.
Yeah, me too.
Put on the show.
But you know what? One thing that I want, we have to make this point as much as possible. We need to bring back public banking.
Yes, and they was pushing for that too, which is good on AOC and the squad for doing that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Because we used to have it. It's not like we never had it before.
Yes, and AOC made that point too, because she said, you guys are calling us a radical for suggesting for policies like public banking that we literally used to have back in the day. So once again, who are the serious people? Is it us or is it you? I don't think it's you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's you.
Yeah, it's like all these capitalists are always talking about, oh, that's extreme. It's like, we used to do it. What you talking about? Like, for instance, tuition-free public college, we used to have it back in the day. So it's not extreme. Oh, you guys want to raise the tax rate for rich people up to 70, 80%. That's extreme. We did it. What the fuck are you talking about? We did that shit.
Right.
And so, people, they automatically want to go to this place where it's like wanting to actually give things to people is somehow wrong. And then some of them call themselves Christians, by the way. Jeez Louise. So it's just crazy how it's like, no.
Someone in the chat
that's how you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, bro.
Huh?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, finish. I'm gonna get the chat here soon. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, but some people, they automatically just want to withhold, and it's like you feel as if we're stealing from you. It's like, no, you're participating in society, so therefore, then I'm gonna say it, dude. I'm gonna say it.
Go ahead, say it.
If you don't like it, then leave the country.
Hey, man, speak your truth.
If you don't like to participate in society, if you don't like to look, if you don't like us taking taxes out from you, then don't drive on the roads. Don't use anything that was regulated by safety measures from the government.
Yeah, people
all these different things. Don't do it.
Yeah, people are so ridiculous.
Don't drink clean water.
People are like, I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to do that. Like, bro, do you understand what the basis of society and how it was formed? The basis of society and how it was formed because it's a group of people that pull together. All right, shit is hard, bro. You know how hard it is to survive on our own? Like, we gotta get food, we gotta get all this stuff, and we gotta survive on our own. And people were like, yo, that is crazy hard to do that. So we formed...
When libertarians say taxation is theft, then call them an accomplice. Because every breath they take, every clean drink of water that they drink, every single time they take a shit in the toilet, they're an accomplice because it's their tax money that's going towards that.
Exactly.
They can't say shit about it. No.
I outflank libertarians all the time. And it's hilarious because I'm a libertarian socialist. That's what I call myself. So
me too.
They were like, I don't want to pay taxes, I want to do this. I'm like, bro, for one, that's our money, and I want to use that money to have projects that boost everyone's quality of life. What do you guys propose? You guys are literally just proposing a state of feudalism. We already tried that before. Like neoliberal capitalism has a lot of issues, but neoliberal capitalism, as Richard Wolff explains, is an evolution of feudalism. Because the natural consequences of society is that you have conflict and then you have a society that continues to improve. So with feudalism, you literally had the people who had the most resources, the people that come from generational wealth, people who come from noble lineages, they had control of all the resources. And they usually was in charge of putting people in position. If there was a government, they usually was in charge of putting people in position of governments. So think about what libertarians are proposing. They're proposing that we get rid of basic regulations. They propose that we get rid of public education. And they say, well, we can get rid of the fire department, and we can do that. And listen, and they say we can do that. They say we can do that by hiring private militias. Like you have rich people. No, seriously. So rich people, out of the kindness of their hearts, Jeff Bezos with all his billions, out of the kindness of his heart, will hire a private militia for the poor, disenfranchised people who can't do that for them. That's what they think is going to happen. Instead, what actually would happen is you have a society where there is no upward mobility. You have Jeff Bezos. He will have a private militia. Because, there's actually a story. I want to cover this as well. Where they had Pinkertons that was spying on behalf of Amazon, and it was spying on people who may form unions and workers who organize. And so imagine if Jeff Bezos had the power to have a private militia with little government oversight. So combine those two stories. You have the story that just broke down. I'm going to cover. Actually, I'm going to Google it. We can do a segment on that. They were spying on workers, and they was abusing people who could be a threat to them in terms of labor organizing. Imagine if they didn't have any sort of government oversight, which they probably already don't. They don't. But imagine they have a private militia they can hire on top of that, which libertarians want. Like, you got to think about the consequences.
It'd be slavery.
Yeah, look, there literally would be slavery. In feudalism, they had slavery back then. And the same white supremacists, they'd be like, "Oh, you guys act like you were special because you guys were slaves." I'm like, yeah, because they had slave and feudalism. You're not making a good point, you asshole. Like, bro, you advocating for a system that you admit has slavery. So yeah, they're like, yeah, you guys wasn't the only slaves. I'm like, yeah, so why are you advocating for policies that have slaves? What the fuck? Jay, you're killing me. Oh shit.
Yo, I don't have anything to say. I'm dumbfounded.
They really be saying stuff like that, bro. They really say stuff like that. They also say stuff like,
I don't even have anything to come back with, bro. I'm just.
They also say stuff
that's
like
the stupidest shit I ever heard.
The racists, they also will say stuff like, "Why is the black man not there for the family?" And Anthony Clark had a great tweet he put out yesterday where he was like, "Black fatherhood being missing is a myth." And that is largely a myth because you got to dive into why black fathers do go missing. It's the people who are targeted by a prison industrial complex or new Jim Crow that was designed to disenfranchise these black people. And then you have a system of capitalism where, there was even a phrase that was so popular, the phrase "first fired, last hired." Because once again, we talk about the boom bust cycle where capitalism crashes every 10 years. So what's the consequences of that? So when capitalism crashes, the first people that get laid off are once again, most likely the service workers, once again, lower income workers, because higher income workers, they keep their positions in the economic crashes. So it's largely black Americans. And then add the racism aspect to that, where you have a black person working in this company, they'll just fire a black dude anyway. That'd be the first. Once again, that's literally a saying. First fired, last hired, and that's literally because that's the state of capitalism. So
yeah.
Good luck. So you say, my point originally was before I ran on a different subject was the racists, they say the black father's not in there with them, we're not in here with the family, which mine wasn't, and I know a lot of people who fathers wasn't there, but a lot of time it was because of institutional disadvantages that they had. People who was locked up over a dime bag, or people who were working 60 hours a week to barely survive. And you gotta understand, this is very simple common sense. If you are someone, and even if you want to be a great father, if you're working 50 to 60 hours a week in hard labor and you barely making income to survive, you're not having the proper nutrition, you don't have the time to work out, you don't have the time to meditate, and then the time you do have off, you got to be a father, like something that takes a lot of time and a lot of patience and a lot of communication, and you got to take care of that person with your low income. Like, we are at a intense disadvantage that people don't even understand. Compare that to someone who has a high income job, who got a lot of time off, who got family leave because he got great benefits. They can take time off. They can work from home where they can take care of their kids. And they're like, "Oh, well, my dad was there for me." Yeah, because your dad was a rich asshole who had a lot of great benefits at his job. Meanwhile, my dad, my dad literally was paralyzed. He was veteran who had to fight to death to get his VA benefits because Republicans always cut it. And in Missouri, they always fight against you getting benefits because that's how they get paid. The less benefits they pay out, the more money they keep. And that's how they all. And my father, He literally was working for Wonder Bread, and he was working and that was his side gig. He was a mechanic. He was a master mechanic. He would work full time as a mechanic. Then he had to work in a factory as a side gig just to survive. And that's the kind of shit we have all the time. And that's why he wasn't there as much as your father, who had paid, who you guys go on vacation every year. Do I hear stories about shit I can't even believe, bro? People be like, man, I can't believe COVID-19. I haven't been on vacation all year. I usually go on 3 vacations a year. But you see this shit on Twitter all the time. People be like, man, I go on 3 vacations every year. I'm like, bro, how? You're blessed.
Bruh, I literally had my first vacation in my life. And it wasn't even an actual vacation. I just had 3 days paid that I can take off work in 2019. That was it. I have never had a vacation ever before in my life. Yep. Never got to take time off like that.
Yeah, so from people age who talk 18 about, on.
Oh, yeah, from all these people, I started working at 16.
Yeah.
And so,
see, I was lucky in my sense. I was lucky because I started from 18 on, but I've been working to death since then. So in that sense, I was lucky. So, but once again, people got way harder stories than I have, because there are people that have been working from like 13 on. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah. And so, for somebody to talk about, oh well, I don't get to go out like I used to, blah blah blah. Like, for instance, my life didn't change when COVID-19 hit.
Exactly.
I'm home all the time. Bitch, that's me on a Monday. What?
Exactly.
I look, always being housing insecure, never having enough money to go out and do things. That's my life. That's what I live.
Unfortunately. And
people talk about, oh, well, I don't get to do all this and that since COVID started. And I'm like, welcome to the club, bruh. And someone
else in the chat said, I've only been on one vacation my entire life. But go ahead.
Yeah. And so, you got people who don't think about, like, for instance, I'm immunocompromised, right? So if I go out, I'm taking a huge risk.
Yes, yeah.
And so
I can only imagine.
I don't see an end in sight to my situation. There's an end in sight to some of these people who have a higher income. There's an end in sight in their situation. So
those are the people who thought I was unreasonable for trying to call a general strike. Those are the same people who's like, dude, why you gotta go so far? I'm like, cause we are fucking in deep shit. We are in. What do you think I'm gonna do? You think I'm gonna just die in a polite way? The fuck?
Die politely.
That's what they want us to
do. It's like, oh, thank you so much for killing me.
Let's see what the chat said. I'm gonna get into some chat.
It was a privilege being stabbed by you. Come on now.
That's really what they want us to do. Here. Like, bro, while we get our house taken, while we going homeless, they want us to vote for Joe Biden and say, thank you, sir, may I have another? That's what they want to do. That's what they expect us to be like. That's what they expect. Let me go multi-stream.
This ain't S&M, nigga. What the hell you talking about?
The Don Lemon, the Jason Johnsons.
Yeah.
Those are people, they love those people.
Look, just because Jason Johnson got a ball gag in his mouth and saying, thank you, please, may I have another, doesn't mean that I have to do the same thing as far as economics is concerned. All right? I'm fighting for my life, and I want something better than what I got.
So, Clouded Mind. I'm just looking. I'm sorry I'm behind on the comments, guys. But anyone who watch my stuff, I just rant, and I get upset. And then, like, me and Jay, we get along because, like, Jay is, like, right alongside me. And I need someone who can channel that energy, that hatred towards the oligarchy that we have.
You're like the little flame, and I'm, like, just taking all the gasoline, I'm just throwing it on there. I'm like, burn, bitch, burn.
They said they want you to be killed with a Joker smile on your face. Jamboree.
Yep.
Man, I'm trying to get to all of them, but I keep losing my play. Actually, I'm gonna look at my tablet. I'm trying to get to the chat guy because you guys are cracking me up. These people value civility over human lives. What is civil about that? Exactly, dude. I can't even imagine making that much money. That was the same guy, Set Fire and Bang. He's my homie. Yeah, like that's the message that Black Lives Matter and black activists make towards liberals, and people understand. They don't understand why I'm mad at white liberals when we say silence is violence, and when we say silence is violence, we mean it. Because so if you're silent about Amy Cooper Democrats, the people who weaponize the police against us, if you're silent about Amazon cracking down on unions, if you're silent about the new Jim Crow, if you're someone who want to keep that going, if you're someone who's been complicit with that, like our Vice President Kamala Harris, someone who wrote the crime bill, and Joe Biden, like you're like that. What's the difference between that and violence? So that's a great comment. Set Fire and Bang made out. These people value civility over human lives. What do you think, Jay?
If you're more impressed by the color of a person's skin versus their liberation, then you're being racist.
Let's see, what does this dude say? Renard, he says, I saw on Twitter a girl was asked for a jump start by a guy with a Trump sticker, and she told him no because it would be socialism. Damn, sassy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sassy. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
So, wait,
I want to so like an AutoZone type.
So
place.
He asked for her for a jump start. Okay, yeah, I think that's right. No, girl was he asked her for. Okay, I'll make sure I read that right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Let's see
And so he said that would be socialism. And the thing is that they were already at like an AutoZone type, of establishment where he can buy the stuff to jump his car anyway.
Yeah.
So it was almost as if he was just trying to get his car jumped, for free versus contributing to capitalism because he's a capitalist. And it's like, yo, bruh, you're a capitalist. Contribute to your system that you love so much. Stop trying to be socialist and get shit for free. I guess that's what it is, right?
Meganator asked me how can she said this a while ago. She said how can commissions be that low? Because I said whenever we gotta make some crazy deals, and there are times where we say we sell vehicles for $40,000 and we give them an $8,000 discount to put that deal together. And my question to people is, I'm not hustling you, but where do you guys think that money come from? You think it's coming out thin air? That money come out of my paycheck because we live in a broken system. Because back in the day, my friend Matt, he was a manager. He makes hundreds and thousands of dollars now. Because sales managers, they make a ton of money doing nothing. And back in the day, if you sell because you used to sell cars a month. If you sell about 10, 12 cars a month, you making $100,000 a year. The equivalent of that.
Wow.
Back then, you making a lot of money. He told me back in the day when he was working his way up. He was a salesman. He was good. He sold 15 cars a month. So he was making about like $150,000 a year. And he was like in the club partying. He was telling me about stories about that when he was crazy. Now I was good. I was promoted to the internet department because I like to consider myself a charming person, and I got along with people, and I try to help people when I got like all salespeople not bad. People need to understand we part of the working class, and people would just hate salespeople. I'm like, bro, chill. Like I'm trying to. There's a game. I'm trying to help you out, bro. At the end of the day. So back in the day,
not all of you guys are sociopathic.
So Kansas is a right to work state, so these businesses can do whatever they want, and these businesses, once again, this is something I want to propose to libertarians. The libertarians would think that we should have no regulations. So Kansas is a state that had Republicans constantly do these experiments where they strip regulations at a higher level than almost any other state in the nation. They call it the Libertarian Project. And so they had loosened the regulations on how the percentages can be paid out on commissions. So like, bro, we would get like 10 to 15% of the profit made on the car. So you gotta realize that most sales are not profit. We make our money in service. So then when we sell cars to people, we try to give them back in service. That's how the dealerships make their money. So we get all the discounts up front. We lose our money because we ain't getting no profit, and then we get $100 commission. So remember I told you back in the day people would sell 10 to 12 cars and they'll make $100,000 a year? I'm making about $40,000 a year because I'll sell 10 to 15 cars a month, but like maybe 70% of those deals be mini commissions. So I'll get only $100. So I'll sell out 8 cars, I get $800. Then I may find a rich dude who may pay sticker. And that you literally make your money now in car sales by praying that you get like one good deal a month. So out of 10 deals, you gotta hope you get one good one. And I remember like there'd be months where I get one good deal with someone who got money or someone who don't negotiate as hard. And I may make like $800 in that one car deal. Then I make minis for the rest of the month. I make $2,000. That's poverty wage. Like, bro.
Yeah.
So that's I was answering the question because he was asking how the commission works. That's how it works. That's how I got radicalized against capitalism because I live this shit. I'm like I sell cars for 3 years. I'm like, dude, fuck this shit. This is like capitalism sucks. Like it's awful. Like workers are exploited. Meanwhile, sales managers making $200,000, $300,000 a year. People in finance, they are very smart people. To give them credit, they are smart, but they don't really do much, and they're making $150,000 a year. Meanwhile, we are struggling, and then so you can see the class divide right on. We can see the class divide immediately if you're woken. So I'm like, how can you be a capitalist if you sell cars in this age? Like you should see this shit. Like you see this shit, right? I'll be talking to people. They're like, I got, cause I'm lucky. I didn't have no kids. Like fuck, no, I ain't have no kids, so I can get. So I can stop get out of poverty before I actually travel or something. My plan always was having 30s, but there's people they had like 4 or 5 kids, 3 kids, two kids. I'll be right back. There we go. Anyway, like I said, they will have kids. I'm like, bro, you making the kind of same amount of money I do. How the fuck do you have 2 kids? Like I'm like, bro, I'm thinking like, how do you not come to the same conclusion I'm coming to? Cause I was able to survive because I live a minimalist lifestyle pretty much. I try to keep all my bills down, and luckily in the Midwest it's easy to have a low standard cost of living. But if you have kids, and if you're in a situation a lot of other people are in, and you're paying student loan debt, you're paying your mortgage, you're doing all this stuff, you don't have any left over. Like what? Like how you guys not turning against the system? That's where I come from. So people like a lot of progressives, they are delusional because they think they're more popular than they are. Which, whatever, I guess that's true. But because I'm living my life like, bro, how can everyone not come to this same conclusion that capitalism is not a broken system? I keep hearing people give heartbreaking stories. I'll take customers in, and because I was pretty good at selling cars, I'll get them to open up, tell me what was going on, because that's how you sell. Hey, how you doing? What bring you in today? Oh, how your kids? Hey, your kids are beautiful. How you doing? What you do for work? Like you get to know people, and people actually open up. They love talking to people. They love talking to people. So, and I'll hear the stories. I remember like people getting car accidents. That'd be the worst one. They get in car accident, don't got good insurance, so they got to pay a shit ton. They already flipped on the car because they pay a high interest rate on that car loan. Remember, this is a franchise people pay on them high interest rates. So their car breaks down. They still got that finance loan that they pay a high interest rate on. And now they got to get a new car. On top of all the stuff going on in the law. So people are like, bro, you just some dude that shit posted on Twitter. Remember, I'm almost 30. People like, bro, I think that's subtle racism on part of white liberals too, because they quick to dismiss me. And I'm like, bro, I lived a decent life as a working class person. And I ain't became radicalized for no reason. I don't got the knowledge that, like, once again, and the knowledge I don't got, I surround myself with people who do got knowledge. My boy Jackie, she's awesome. My friends like that, like people, like we are communicating with each other and we are explaining people what the working class go through. So once again, I don't got patience for people who want to fight against that movement.
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
No. And it's the same thing with me. You know, I was a commissioned salesperson. You know, I worked in, one of the largest furniture retailers in the world. And, when I first got hired, I thought it was more lucrative than what it actually was.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. When I got in car sales, I was so hyped. I was like, yo, I'm actually going to get in the middle class. I was so delusional when I first got. I was like, I'm going to make, because they get you hyped up and they make it seem like better than it is. That's what they do, right?
Yep. And I'm thinking I'm going to go up to a higher tax bracket.
Yeah, exactly.
And so come to find out, I'm making, whatchamacallit, I'm making at best $2,400 a month full time.
Yeah.
You know, selling furniture.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'm thinking in the beginning, I'm thinking I'm making like 4 or 5 grand a month, and they're like, "Oh no, the system's a little bit different than that." And I'm like, "How?" And you figure out that the owners of the company actually pocket the first part of your sale. And I'm just like, what the
Yeah.
like what? And so you got all these capitalists that are surrounding you, who think, oh man, all you gotta do is just hustle more. And it's just like,
Like, we are hustling.
wait,
That's what people don't understand.
it's
That's
like,
what people who apologize for capitalism, they don't understand. Like, bro, we are hustling. They pretend
yeah,
that the people who don't got money are not working hard. The hardest working people are the factory workers that have to take another job. The teachers that work in another job. My mom had to work at Walmart during my teenage years to help try and cover the bills. We are way harder working than these fucking people who make $1 million a year. Emmy McGrath consultants and Democratic Party consultants are making millions of dollars a year. And what good do they do for society? What do they fucking do? Are they as valuable as the essential workers on the front line that we see every day? And COVID, that liberal,
no,
they pretend they care about them, but do they really?
yeah,
Do they really? If you really care about them, you'd be talking about passing a living wage, not the $15 per hour bullshit. That
yeah.
that Fight for 15. That was 12 years ago, 12, 15 years ago. I was literally in high school when the Fight for 15 started, and y'all talking
Yeah.
about $15 an hour. That shit should be elite. Like, people were dragging me to the left. I remember I made a tweet. I was like, man, $15 is nothing. The minimum wage should be at least $20 an hour. People were like, bitch, 25, $30 an hour. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I was a
Yeah, they
moderate.
were dragging my ass to the left too. They were like, boy, what's your problem?
I was like, okay.
$15 an hour. Shut up.
I was like, all right, you guys.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, all right, you guys caught me slipping being a lib.
Yeah.
but
Oh man.
But yeah,
I'm getting my Clyburn.
It should be $25 to $35 an hour. It should be. It could cost like, if you're in California, you're in New York, hell, even if you're in Kansas City and some of the areas here, man, do $15 an hour is nothing. Once again, for a family, for a kid.
No, it's not. Nah.
Once again, I'm a libertarian socialist.
I did the math.
Go ahead.
I did the math actually. For here in Orlando, a true living wage is 21 an hour. Here in Orlando.
Yep.
And this is not the most expensive place.
If wages kept up with worker production, it would easily be $25 an hour. If it kept up with worker productivity, if it kept up with the amount of profit that these new businesses are getting, like Jeff Bezos and every trillionaire that you ever met in your life is a policy mistake. You guys understand that, right? That's a policy mistake. They shouldn't exist.
It is.
Like, the thing is, people don't understand. During the primary, I was going crazy because they was going after Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's tax bill. Bernie Sanders went farther than Elizabeth Warren. And I was telling people, you realize that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's tax bill didn't even go far enough. But that was
taking it easy on them compared to what I would do.
That was a very moderate. I'm gonna pull it up so I can get the actual numbers so I can speak on wealth tax.
Yeah.
But pretty much, if on that wealth tax, you literally still have millionaires. You literally still have. Some people that are making millions per year, because I think I'm doing on top of my head now. I'll pull it up so I can make sure I'm right. But I think he was taxing people once they start making $10 million a year, right? If I remember his tax, I'll pull it up here. And Elizabeth Warren was like $32 million. Let me see. Let me look at his tax.
37, I think.
Oh, sorry. Let me say.
Was it 30?
No. Sorry. His wealth tax is 1% tax on income over $32 million. His I'm trying to think of the name of the tax. I'm blanking on the actual name of the tax. Let's see if the chat helped me out here. But he had one that was like, if you make over $10 million a year, that's where you get taxed. And we had it back at 90%. What's the name of the tax? Why am I blanking on that? Hoping the chat bailed me out. But that was the proposal. I'm like, the point I'm making is with his wealth tax and with his income tax, you are still having people who are extremely wealthy. You like Rachel Maddow, and they'll make $7 million a year. That's $30,000 a day. $30,000 a day, and his tax is not touching them people. Are you kidding me? Like those people, we still will have insanely wealthy people in this society that we live in right now. I'm gonna look that up because it's actually bothering the shit out of me. Why can't I remember? I'm like blanking on it.
Yeah.
Someone said capital gains tax. I think that may be right, but I don't think about something else. But you guys know my overall point though. My overall point is that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, their proposal was a very moderate proposal. Like, look at the billionaire wealth that increased now in the middle of this pandemic. Let's see.
Yeah.
Billionaires richer during pandemic. See, I was always doing research on this. So, billionaires' wealth rises to $10.2 trillion among COVID. What? That can't be real. Hold up. Let me make sure you can see this. Just so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh man, let me fix this. What else?
Yo, there's a point that I want to make, man. And
go ahead. I'm gonna fix this real quick.
Yo, it shows how conditioned we are to capitalism, that when we hear a minimum wage higher than $15 an hour, we kind of hesitate a little bit. I know I did. I was like, wait, that's kind of high.
Yeah.
But it shows how and I'm on the left. I'm a leftist. I'm a socialist. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's kind of high. But then you think about it, it's like, wait, no.
Like, yeah, it's not.
Not in retrospect, when you think about people like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Elon Musk, having all this money, I'm like, nah, no, they're right. It should be, way past 15 now. We asked for that years ago. Now we need a fight for 25.
Yeah, they were actually serious people.
That's true.
I can't get it pulled up right now, but the article said billionaires' wealth rises to $10.2 trillion amid COVID crisis. And they got a picture of Jeff Bezos, fucking asshole. Here, I'm actually gonna screenshot. I can pull it up that way on the stream so I can see it.
Yeah.
Cause the thing is, I'm getting way better at doing this, but sometimes OBS glitches, and I think that's what it's doing. It's literally just glitching. But let me try it this way. You saw it, right? I don't know if you saw it on Discord, but the image I got was playing it pretty well for a slow stream to see. I'm pretty sure most people in my audience are aware of what we're talking about here. Let me pull it up. Anyway, let's dive into this for a second. Cause I still got all these stories I haven't even dived into. They said the world's billionaires. Actually, I'm pull it up first now. Read it. Let me see if I can find it. Plus, I need to dive in the chat as well. Like I said, we just chilling. I got that pulled up. Let me put on. Make Billionaires Pay Act. Oh yeah, Meg just found a story about with Bernie, with his plan I was looking for. Yeah, there it is. So I think the stream can see this now, right? Billionaires' wealth rises to $10.2 trillion amid COVID crisis. They got a picture of Jeff Bezos being an asshole. Let's see. I think people in the chat did some digging for us. Let's see. Damn, I'm so behind on the comments here.
Hold up. Maybe my math is off.
Progressive martial arts. The running amount I keep seeing is like 23 or 50 cents $23 an hour and 50 cents or something like that. What are you talking about there? I think that if wages met workers' productivity. Zoho said CEOs spend like 70% of their time in meetings, and they make like. And that's another reason why capitalism failed, because back in the day, CEOs made what they would make like 300, 400 times more than the average worker. Mm-hmm. Now it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of times. So it's like, bro, you guys in your trickle-down economics and them reducing those regulations.
Yeah. Well, back then,
man, you guys made everything worse.
Back then the CEO made 20 times more than the average worker. Now they're making upwards of 300 times more than the average worker. So, and so that's what the average CEO. So you have people that are barely scraping by, and capitalism dictates that year over year, you have to make more in profit. You cannot make the same this year as you did last year. That's considered a failure in capitalistic terms. So this is why prices always go up, because they have to make more money. So let's say everybody makes the exact same this year, nobody gets a raise. And then capitalism would dictate that they still need to raise the prices of everything. So people would literally be spending more the next year than they were this year, even though their wages are stagnant. That's basically what's been going on.
Exactly.
And so there's been this runaway of just things going higher and higher. Like for instance, when I moved into my condo 7 years ago.
Right.
7 years ago, over 7 years, my condo, the rent went up $350 in 7 years.
Crazy.
No, not, yeah, $350, yeah, $375 over 7 years. And wages have not went up. Those of us who are on disability, disability benefits have not went up in accordance with that.
I know that's something that you're passionate about as well, because that's something that directly impacts you, and that's something that directly impacts a lot of people I know as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people who hear, because there's kind of a disconnect when people hear about Social Security disability and Social Security retirement, because they don't think about it as, because it doesn't affect them right now. But for a lot of us who do have it, it's nowhere near enough. If you took what I get from Social Security disability and broke it down to how much you would make per hour in a 40-hour work week, I would be making probably around $7 an hour. That's it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the thing is that that's starvation.
It's a broken system, broken racist system.
Yeah. For the rich, it's not broken. It's working exactly as intended.
Someone in the comments actually said that, and I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to point that out. Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because someone was like, when I was doing my rant earlier, they was like, capitalism actually working as that. Like, yeah, I know, damn it, you guys keep catching me being the lib. I know it's working as intended, because it's intended to have racial income disparity. They take pride in having a class of citizens. Like Nancy Pelosi, like she lives in a different universe than the average person. With her $12,000 fridge, her expensive ice cream, her kids who live a fantastic existence with nannies and all that kind of shit. It's a different level of society. Someone like, I'm here because the dog scarf tweet. Dude, it's crazy. I got like 1,000 followers after that. Cause I think it was I know on Facebook, but a lot of people were sharing it. It's kind of crazy how once that blew up. But that's literally peak white lib shit. Like the thing is, I did a breakdown on it yesterday. I posted a clip on it on Twitter today. Well, I'm like, bro, I wasn't even trying to be hostile to her. Like, dude, I don't even be hostile to people. Like, I just ask people questions. And when you see the tweet, I literally just asked her. I was like, she was like, well, I'm glad that the election's over, so I don't have to care about politics no more. I'm like, so do Black Lives not matter then? Like, cause we're still in this damn fight. And that's when she was like, hey, my dog got the scarf. And I came to it late, and I saw everyone reacting to it. I was like, is she a parody account? Like, that has to be a parody account. And I said, I didn't even quote Twitter because I didn't want to get her piled on, but it was just it was so bad on her behalf. Like, it was such a blunder and such a reveal of her character that my tweet blew up, and people had some fun. And it came out that she was once again, I bet you can guess, she was a Pete Buttigieg supporter. Of course. Of course. Of course.
Oh, she got them high hopes, huh?
Hell yeah. Hella high hopes.
Oh, gosh.
But that's literally the people we always talk about, man, isn't it? And that's why I think that tweet did well. And that's the favorite thing about the platform I have, is the fact that I can point out something that people thought was unthinkable just like a few years ago, that these white liberals, just like Malcolm X and MLK and all these people have warned us, they are not on their side like they want us to believe, lead us to believe.
Look,
they are.
I'm gonna say this, bro. I hope there are some future Ryan Knights and Peter Dows that are watching this right now.
Hell yeah.
That they're like, wait a minute, I've been doing this all wrong, and then they learn from it. Because hell, look, I learned from a lot. I grew. I'm sure you grew.
Yep.
And that's all it is. And the thing is that you're literally giving liberals feedback. That's what you're doing. You're saying, no. You don't just look at this. What are they doing for me? What are they doing for us?
Yeah, I need to.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of these liberals, especially these liberals that are 50, 60 years old, a lot of y'all want to talk about Black Lives Matter. You guys don't want to do anything for Black lives, but then yet next thing you know, your daughter or son is marrying somebody that's black and they have a black grandchild, and that grandchild gets shot by police. Then what? Then what? Exactly. Or they're living in squalor and poverty because of the color of their skin. Then what? These people are now your family members. These people are some of your friends. And so the fact that liberals are looking at this and going, we can't do this right now. It's like, no, you don't want to do this right now.
Yeah, that's of your choosing.
Because they're too damn comfortable. That's what it is. And the only way, and I'm starting to sound like Rome right now.
Hey, I Rome my homie, bro.
Yeah, we got to take that comfort away. You know, I'm sorry to say this, but we got to treat him like a puppy that still shits inside the house. Okay, y'all still want to shit inside the house? Okay, we're gonna keep you in the cage. You got to be around that shit all day, and then finally we'll let you out. So what? We got to do some mutual aid. We gotta march in the streets. We got to do a general strike, stuff like that. If that's what we have to do, then hey, let's do it. In order for you guys to realize, hey, no, this is wrong. We got to wake them up.
Okay, so let's someone in chat I heard some Warren trashing. What's going on? I was tweeting about that earlier. So yeah, I got this. I had a segment on Warren. Let me fix my other window here.
Oh Lord!
Cause I don't know if you saw my tweet my earlier tweet, but I'm gonna set the story up. So we're gonna do a segment on my segment on this here. Dang, I gotta set this up.
Mm-hmm. Warren. Oh gosh.
Give me a few seconds, guys, and we're gonna set this. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do a story.
Mm-hmm.
We about hour and 45 minutes in, so. He's showing you got the stamina, right? Apparently. I didn't know how long I was going to stream today. I didn't have it really planned. But I'm going to just start doing it more often and see what happens. Damn. The thing is, I think OBS is glitching again. It's actually kind of annoying me. Whenever I do long streamings. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. Nice. So I got it on my stream. It'll help me with my resources. Do you got any way to pull my stream up or anything? I don't know. Because whenever I pull it up on here, it hurts the stream a little bit. But I can read it out, right? I think you know what I'm talking about. So this story came out 5 days ago, actually. Something that I seen coming, right? So I'm make sure I got you guys on the stream can see this. The headline. This is from the New York Post. It said enormously insulting. Sanders warns Biden not to shut out progressives. Talking about during his cabinet picks, and we already seen throughout the course of this the last few days that he's leaning hard centrist, hard military-industrial complex. People who was involved with the ICE hysterectomy during the Joe Biden during when Joe Biden was vice president. So this is what Bernie Sanders was saying a few days ago. Now, think about the Warren Democrat, right? The average Warren Democrat. They believe it or not, there was a large percentage of them, like 50% of them, that had Bernie Sanders as like their second favorite candidate. But people don't know Warren. A lot of her support came from like the white affluent class, the Pete Buttigieg supporters, Amy Klobuchar supporters. There was a rivalry there, and those are the same people that was super anti-Bernie for some reason. Like, bro, you say you support Elizabeth Warren because apparently she's a progressive, but you don't like a guy who is to her left, who got better policies than her? The guy who you guys said is like a diet version of Bernie? Why wouldn't you like, even if you prefer Elizabeth Warren to her, which I think is stupid, but even if you did, why wouldn't you at least like Bernie? Like, at least have him as your second favorite. But now, the reason I'm bringing that up, because Bernie was talking about, he warned Joe Biden about having progressives in the cabinet. Everyone knew, even though Bernie Sanders was saying that we knew what he was going to do, but now combine that with this, I'm pulling this up, where Bernie Sanders, this story flowed around in January, and this is why I tweeted out, dang, it kind of blew up, huh? I said Elizabeth Warren is such a dumbass because she had the worst political instincts. This story from January said the Sanders campaign looked into whether Elizabeth Warren can serve as vice president and the Treasury Secretary at the same time. So, do you understand what Warren gave up by being a snake for Joe Biden, for teaming up for the establishment and taking Bernie? She could have been one of the most powerful people. She could have been one of the most powerful women in the world. She would have been the treasure. They were looking into whether that was legal, and she decided to butt in with Joe Biden. Let me see if I can find that other tweet. Because people, like, I don't know why progressives have like a short memory on this. There's not a lot of people that still apologize for Warren, but the people on the highest level, they still pretend that Warren's an ally. Where there was, after that debate, after she smeared him when she smeared him as a sexist, she shakes Joe Biden's hand, but then she rejects. Damn, there's a lot of damn replies in here. Trying to find the one where she denied Bernie the handshake. But you guys know what I mean. She's, and that was someone that it's been largely reported was a good friend of Bernie Sanders for years. And that's why Bernie, before he ran in 2016, Bernie Sanders wanted to recruit Elizabeth Warren to run against Hillary Clinton. Because Bernie Sanders acknowledged her as a somewhat progressive senator. Because this was back in the day where Elizabeth Warren she challenged Barack Obama on some of his cabinet picks. That was too pro-Wall Street. And she challenged Joe Biden on his bankruptcy bill and some of his resolutions in the bankruptcy bill and his opposition of the Consumer Financial Protection Agency. So Bernie Sanders recruited her. She decided not to run, and she decided to betray Bernie Sanders in 2016 because Hillary Clinton, this is the official story that came out, because Hillary Clinton offered her a place as her vice president. That's why she did it. And then it came out, she was like begging Joe Biden for a vice president slot, begging him. And guess what? Not one position for Elizabeth Warren in this administration. You know why? Because once again, Elizabeth Warren, she's too stupid. She didn't realize this. Because Joe Biden is an old school politician. He holds grudges. The Democratic Party holds grudges. You think Joe Biden forgot about Elizabeth Warren railing against him in the Senate in the late 2000s? When he was railing against her, she was railing against his life work when she was making her progressive name. And she think Joe Biden forgot about that? That's why during the course of the campaign, I was like, what are you doing, you idiot? Not only you hurting our progressive movement, you hurting yourself. Because Bernie was going to give you a job. As you guys see in this headline. I'll pull this back up. I can't find the handshake. I'll read it once again. The Sanders campaign looked into whether Warren could serve as vice president and Treasury Secretary at the same time, according to report. That was what she gave up. I'm going to get to the chat here. What do you think, Jay? That was my little... Because I know people asked for it. That was my tweet out today that pretty much doing well. I'm happy about that. But what do you think about Warren? What do you think about the cabinets? What's your general thought on what's going on in terms of cabinet and Elizabeth Warren in general? Oh, I can't hear you, bro. Yeah, Jay, I think you're muted for some reason. Lewis. Who do you think progressives should run against Harris in 2024? I'm going to get to that question. That's a good question. I took it a few times, but we got some new viewers here. I'm not sure why you're muted, but we just chilling. It's all good, bro. Not sure why. Can you guys hear Jay at all? I'm not seeing any audio come out. You? Whatever. Warren was disappointed to the highest degree both 2016 and 2020. Yeah. I had no reason to hate Warren for a long time. I was a strong opponent of Elizabeth Warren in 2020 because I paid attention to her Senate run from 2016 onward. There was a lot of progressives who wasn't paying attention. Like she came in, I told you, I laid out the Senate accolades that she had. But then she turned into someone who wanted to get inside the Democratic Party. Yeah, they're saying they can't hear you. Yeah, I can. I don't know why. Oh, let me check my Discord settings again. I'm not sure why. It's not showing you. I can't. I don't know. Kind of sucks. But yeah, I'll pay attention to what she did. Like Elizabeth Warren, when she voted for Trump's military budget. When she did that. When she voted for a trade deal. When Elizabeth Warren took the side of the imperialists during Venezuela. I remember that. You know what I mean? So her record was sketchy even before, even if you don't add in the obvious betrayals in the campaign. It's still sketchy. Regarding, I know someone in the chat said who should run in 2024. A lot of people keep saying AOC. No, because she's still too young, and she is powerful. Like she got Rahm Emanuel trending 2 times, calling out Joe Biden's back cabinet picks. I don't think we should risk her profile running in 2024, where we know it's gonna be rigged against her, and she has an entire right wing that hates her, that will be running smear after smear against her. Well, they always will, but once AOC gets a more legislation passed, once progressives as a whole, more Cory Bushes win, she will have more leg to stand on against the neoliberal and the right wing smears. So she'll be much stronger. So the reason why I say Nina 2024, which I see some people in comments saying that as well, because she's dynamite on the Trump campaign trail. I saw her speak when I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and she was the one. She was the national co-chair of the campaign, right? If I remember right. But she was a big part of the campaign, so she will naturally take over. For most people who supported Bernie Sanders, I think would transition to Nina. But also the reason why it's important to have Nina run because there's nothing that we lose out of that. Because remember, I said I don't want LC to run because LC still has a lot of power in Congress. So LC, it'd be better if she kind of take out Chuck Schumer in the Senate, which we need to take him out in the first place anyway. And then we have someone like Nina Turner who's not holding a progressive seat. Like people out here, like not Ro Khanna either, because Ro Khanna is another person we need who may take over Dianne Feinstein's Senate seat in California. So we need to be strategic, and Nina has Bernie Sanders policies. So if you're someone who's a policy oriented voter like I am, of course I will go for Nina. And can you imagine the hard time that the K Hive and the Democratic Party will have trying to attack Nina Turner because they attack Bernie Sanders for being an old white guy, but Nina Turner is a dynamic black female leader who gives great speeches. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, good.
Bad.
Now, you were asking me about my thoughts on Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, your thoughts on Elizabeth Warren, and some people ask me about 2024, so you can kind of do your rant on that.
Okay.
I don't know if you can combine them, but that's a good starting point.
I'll give it the old college try. So Elizabeth Warren she's the MVP of the Democratic establishment.
Yep.
Because of what she did towards the end of the primary, that helped out the Democratic establishment so much for them. And she is what I would consider a faux-gressive because
Amen.
She'll say that she's for certain policies, but then when she's pressed on it, she backtracks. She did exactly what Kamala Harris did. Exactly. There's no difference. So there's some economic thing that she kind of moderately did, but let's say hypothetically if she won the presidency, she's Madam President now.
Yep.
She would backtrack even further, even on some of her own promises. Like, for instance, the wealth tax, she would have backtracked on that.
100%. 100%. She started taking corporate money.
Oh, of course.
So therefore, she would 100%.
Yeah. So really, truth be told, I look at Elizabeth Warren in the same vein as I look at people like Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I look at them all the same. And as far as, 2024, I mean, the person who I would like the most would be Nina Turner.
Yeah. That a lot of people in the chat were saying, yeah.
The reason being is because of the policy stances, and she doesn't back down from them. She is actually more bullish than Bernie on policy stance.
Can you imagine Nina Turner versus Pete Buttigieg? Like, Bernie was very nice, dude. Nina Turner, Bernie like she was already the heavy hitter on the campaign. Like, she would be the one who was the most aggressive against Pete and Warren. Meanwhile, the strategy was she was aggressive and Bernie would pull chill and be the more presidential person. Imagine Nina just slam Pete on the debate stage because she's very charismatic. She's way more charismatic than like Bernie got charisma, but he got like the New York charisma. But Nina, I think she would roast him 100%.
Nina would. Oh boy. Nina is how can I want to put this in a very respectful way because I respect her a lot. But not sure if you can still hear me. But um, oh, okay. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So, hey, I'm back.
Nin-
I just had to. I
yeah.
just got my TV because I know someone said they heard it in the background. But
Oh,
what
okay.
was you saying, bro? Sorry, I just stepped out to handle that.
Yeah. Nah, that's cool. Nina Turner is Nina Turner is like that lady that you would see in school, that teacher that all the kids in school liked, but that one bad kid will come in and she can put him in check real quick.
I hope they heard you.
Was
Oh, sorry, I was talking to my brother. Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
okay? That's all good. So that's one thing that I appreciate is that when it comes to policy, she will be a bull in a china shop. Um, but at the same time, as far as who she picks as like VP, that's I'm kind of lost on that one. I have somebody in mind that I kind of would like, but I'm not sure. I want to see where she's at, in the next 4 years.
Right.
But
let's see what the chat said here real quick. I've been doing the chat, and I got another story. I still got like a few more stories booted up here. We had 2 hours. I don't know how you feel. I might take a lunch break, and I might be back later. But I'll do this. I'm gonna be doing this every day. So, man, because I didn't want to talk. Pretty much, there's a lot of discussion about 2024. Thanks for the follow, homie. Democrats and that's exactly what I said. When people say Kamala Harris, like she's gonna run 2024, so she can't use identity politics against Nina Turner. And Kamala Harris is deeply unpopular with the African American community. Before she dropped out, she had 1% of the black vote. And I would always laugh at K-Hive. I'm like, bro, K-Hive is a group of white liberal moms, soccer moms who pretend they're black. Because the polls are not there. And then you look at Twitter, a lot of them are like middle-aged white women. Nothing against them, but that's her demographic. The people that feel safe by having a tough-on-crime prosecutor. People who are safe by having someone who wouldn't cut the military budget by only 10%. That's Kamala Harris's base. Right? So, if you had Nina Turner run, just like the comment pointed out, I was just letting the comment, but if you had Nina Turner run, just like the comment pointed out, she would destroy Kamala with the black vote. Like, absolutely crush.
Oh, yeah.
She true, like, she has that soul speak when she gives her speeches.
Oh, yeah.
And can you imagine? Go ahead.
And let's go to the symbolism for a second. Okay. Black women, as far as the way they are treated in society, is the lowest on the totem pole. I don't care what nobody says. Black women catch the most hell out of everybody, even more than we black men do. Okay?
Yep.
100%. For a black woman 100%. To reach President of the United States, that is... shit, dude. That's
why Nina could be a good candidate as well, because there'd be so many people who not engaged in politics like us who just want to see that, like a dark skinned woman, running as a Malcolm X style candidate.
Absolutely.
Like one second, nothing against Kamala Harris. No, I don't use that as an attack against her. I don't use that as an attack against Barack Obama. No. But let's be real, they are more easy to appeal because they got lighter, fairer skin. Because Kamala Harris is half Indian.
That's the way it works.
And because Obama's half white. We still haven't seen if Americans won a true... Once again, they're not attack on them, but like a true brother. Like a Midwestern, someone with a Midwestern accent like I have. Like that's like, will they vote for them? We don't know. But I think there's a lot of normies who will back Nina Turner in that situation, especially considering how unpopular Kamala Harris is, right?
Oh, definitely.
And Zoha said Bree and Nina get way more hate from K Hive than basically any other Bernie surrogate. Not even just Bernie surrogate, more than almost anyone in politics. K Hive. Oh yeah, let me pull that up because my homie Bess he pointed this out. Cause you guys see Alyssa Milano's tweet yesterday. She was like,
wait. Was it about
I'm pulling up on the stream.
Her welcoming MAGA supporters, trying to be like, oh, we need to heal?
Yes. Now, my boy Bess, my homie, he pointed out perfectly. He was like, this is the comparison between Alyssa Milano outreach to Bernie supporters versus her outreach to Trump supporters. Because during the course of once it became Joe Biden versus Bernie Sanders, like, she always been insufferable. But she took it to the next level, being anti-Bernie. So this is what she said first yesterday on her tweet. She said, I would like to extend an olive branch to Trump supporters. You know, the Proud Boys, the white supremacists that wants us dead. You know, those people. The same people that said that we must vote against because they are existential evil. The same people who quoted Noam Chomsky, someone who I look up to. But they quoted Noam Chomsky against me. And they said, Noam Chomsky said we should vote against Trump. Okay, you guys forgetting this part that Noam Chomsky said. Noam Chomsky said Republicans are the greatest evil in human history. So you realize that Noam Chomsky is probably to my left on that. Because his argument is, even though you got the Mongols, you got Alexander the Great, you had all these imperialists that did an untold amount of human harm. And like people obviously bring up Hitler, Mussolini, but those are the most recent examples. There's an untold amount of evil oligarchs that existed in human history. But Noam Chomsky, he says the Republicans and them refusing to address climate change, if climate change ends up destroying human society, that means there's no one that did more damage in human history than Republicans. Because climate change wiped out human society. Yes, Hitler kills millions of people, but Hitler didn't kill billions of people. So Chomsky said Republicans are the enemy and they must be defeated and they must be crushed. Meanwhile, they quote him when they said he wanted to vote for Joe Biden, but Melissa Malone said she want to have an olive branch to these people who fighting against climate change. She said, "I'm ready to move forward together." # She want to make that trending. I hope it did. I didn't check. There's so much work to do to heal this nation. And I saw someone made this comment. I forgot who, but he said, "What do affluent liberals mean when they say there's work to do?" Which is a good question. What does that mean? Because historically,
what work?
Yeah, historically that means bad. Like when they get together, like, look, we got work to do. We got cut Social Security. We got to cut Medicaid. We got to go fund the genocide against the Houthis in the Yemen. Like it's always something like that. So I saw that comment. I wish I remember who, but he said someone else said, like, what does that actually mean? And that got me thinking. Let's be part of the solution. And not add to the problems we face. My comments are open. Please reply forward together. So that's Alyssa Milano when she's talking to fascists. Let's see what Melissa's trying to say when she's talking to socialists. This one, Bernie leaving. Bye, Bernie. There's a whole compilation he lays out. The only person who wins if Sanders stays in the race is Donald Trump. Because she was one of the people that was trying to press Bernie Sanders out. Like, ruthless attacks. Like, she went after Tara Reid. Alyssa Milano says she assumes the mainstream media will cover Tara Reid if her claims was credible. How delusional is that? Not that we have an institutional system that will protect ruling class people like Joe Biden. Like, when Tara Reid came out with her story, the mainstream media didn't cover that for 6 weeks. They gave Joe Biden 6 weeks to be prepared for that. And then they took another... Oh, there we go. I think the video back up now. So they took 6 weeks to even cover Tara Reid. And then they gave Joe Biden like another 8 to 9 weeks to get ready for a response to Tara Reid. Why is that? Why does that happen? Once again, Alyssa Milano, she never actually addressed the problem. Because Joe Biden is funded by the same billionaires that invest into MSNBC. MSNBC is invested by Raytheon, by Wall Street. These same billionaires that donate to Joe Biden's campaign. So there's a very basic conflict of interest in there. And especially when the Tara Reid allegations came out, Bernie Sanders was still in the race. So the last thing they're gonna do is cover something that could help Bernie Sanders, their moral enemy, out. Is that? Will you ever hear that on CNN or MSNBC? Will you ever hear Alyssa Milano ever address that? Go ahead, Jay.
No, she wouldn't. Rosa McGowan would, though.
Yeah, Rose McGowan is a real one.
Oh, she hella would.
Yeah, she's a
which
real
is
one.
why I like Rose McGowan.
Yeah,
but,
she's a real one. Like the people that they hate.
Oh yeah.
Susan Sarandon. Like she one of the people that follow me. I'm like,
yeah.
Damn, I can't believe I got Susan Sarandon to follow me. But she's really one of the few celebrities that's real. That's real.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And the fact that Tara Reid got put through the ringer and her story was
I'll let you monologue. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I'll let you monologue real quick, Jay. I'll be right back. Mm-hmm. I'll put you on the spot.
Okay.
Or you can chill. But just give me a few minutes, guys.
Oh, okay. But like I was saying, they gave her more credit. They gave Christine Blasey Ford more credit than they did, Tara Reid. Way more. And Christine Blasey Ford's story was nowhere near as credible as Tara Reid's. So the mere fact that you had them blocking Tara Reid's story as a credible story, it shows who they really are. And MSNBC is the same network as well as ABC and CBS that hid the stories that other journalists want to do. Like, for instance, the ones on Harvey Weinstein and the ones they had the issues with Charlie Rose and they had the issues with Matt Lauer. So when it comes to people who are truly in power or who are about to be in power, that look out for their own financial interests, even though they did something horrible and they were on board with, the Time's Up Me Too movement, they never really were about it. They just wanted to do it just to save face, to look good. And that's the problem with the Democratic establishment and the neoliberal establishment. Unfortunately, that's, what they've been about. And it's always been a surface issue. And it's like I said earlier, it's always, let's just do this for the cameras. It's never truly a substantive issue that they want to address. Let's kneel in kente cloth. Let's paint Black Lives Matter on a street. But when it comes to actual policies, they leave it all behind because it's not in their interest as far as financially concerned. And so, truth be told, that's one of the biggest issues as far as, liberalism is concerned. Because they adopt that thinking that they just leave just a facade there and think that that's enough. When really, people like us are telling them straight from the get-go, like, no, you guys are giving us a whole bunch of bullshit and we're sick and tired of being fed that bullshit and it's going to stop and we're going to make it stop. But then they just block us on Twitter. No, it's all good. It's all good. I tried to fill in the time. I was just like, game time. Got to put on your game face on. I ain't even got my fade right yet. So, nah. Mm-hmm. Mhm. They were, yeah. Mm-mm. Oh yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah. 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 Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm.
There we go. I think I'm all right. I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted now. So Jay can hear me.
Uh-huh. I
So
can hear you.
anyway, I'll just go. Well, we were talking about Yang. We were talking about Yang. I was muted for like the whole time I was speaking there.
Oh no.
No, you can hear me, but Twitch was muted. But they
Oh
good.
shit.
Thank God. Look at that. See, I read too much. Thank God. Look at the chat. I don't know how long I was muted, but I think most of the time I was speaking there. But someone made a comment about Yang and how the media was censoring Andrew Yang. So let me quickly dive into that. I was saying uh, I made a tweet that did pretty well, and I'm happy it did because I was. And a lot of Yang Gang people got upset with me because I said because a lot of Gang people, Yang lost, and then I would try and recruit Yang Gang people, and then they would get mad
Mhm.
like, "Oh, we don't owe you shit, bro," because they were mad because Andrew lost. They're like, "We don't owe you shit, bro. Like we the vote. We're not gonna vote for." I'm like, "Bro, we agree mostly on policy. Why wouldn't you back us up?" And then a lot of them like went hard centrist. A lot of them was like, "All right, we're gonna just vote for her to nominee." They became big bias stands. It's like, bro, the media in the corporate establishment was just as unfair to Andrew Yang as he was to Tulsi and he was to Bernie Sanders. So I'm like,
Mhm.
why didn't you guys take that and become a little bit more radicalized, like against the system? And why did you
It
guys
went.
support the progressive policies that and the movements that we're supporting? Cause I still see Yang Gang people on Twitter now. Like, there's still a lot of good ones, but I see Yang Gang people
Mhm.
on Twitter now that's still more centrist. Like, I see Yang Gang
Mhm.
people that are talking about black. They talk against Black Lives Matter. I'm like, bro, you just went
Mhm.
like you guys are heartbroken that your good dude got robbed by the system that you guys are propping up. But for the most
Yep.
part, well, I also did mention that that you guys didn't hear. I said like Andrew Yang, I had some hard disagreements with him. Like,
Mhm.
and Andrew and Yang Gang people get really pissed off at me when I bring it up because he gave interviews talking about Israel Palestine. And he gave literally a standard Democratic talking point answer on Israel Palestine. He always been weak on foreign policy, and but the biggest sin that he committed was being against Medicare for all. Like
Yeah.
you can't say you a populist. You can't pretend you are anti-establishment if you're propping up the healthcare industry, the corrupt mafia middleman healthcare. I literally got about to do this story. I'm not gonna do the full one, but I'll read it off. I have it stayed here. So look, check this out.
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm gonna do a story on this. Maybe later today or maybe tomorrow. Purdue Pharma pleads guilty to federal criminal charges related to the nation's opioid crisis. I repeat, they pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges. So when we talk about Medicare for all, I'm talking about
Mhm.
taking these evil people. Like, this is just one out of many stories. Like, these stories, I don't
Mhm.
understand. Like, 'cause these stories come out every like few months. Where they're like, there's some big
Mhm.
pharma executive was jacking up prices for a drug, and he got a lecture. They'll show them clips where LC he was lecturing some guy in big pharma, and it would go viral. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, LC he did a good job. But what happened to the
Mhm.
banker? Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing
Nothing.
happened to the big pharma people when they do. And then
Mm-mm.
these stories come out every month, and then some liberal, some progressive, they run an expose like John Oliver. He may run something on this show or something, about it, and then people forget. I'm like, bro, you do like there was just a story that came out. Cal covered on this show where hospitals were caught charging 1,800%. That's 1,800% more for the medical costs during the height of this pandemic.
Oh yeah.
How's that not criminal? How's that even possible? So, and you're going to be against Medicare for all because you want to protect this industry? When Medicare for all, studies have shown that it will boost the economy, it will boost wages. Knowing that, families that make $30,000 or less, which is 60% of Americans, they pay no extra in taxes in Medicare for all. It's an inherently progressive tax system. So then, once again, you bring up to Yang Gang people how UBI is a regressive tax system. Once again, they get mad at you for that. So Yang has some good ideas, but a lot of his ideas was based on a regressive economic approach instead of the progressive economic approach like Medicare for all. That's my. I'll let you chime in. What's your thoughts on Yang? That was just someone who brought him in the chat.
So look, with in regards to Yang not being for Medicare for all, you cannot give somebody UBI and not think that the pharmaceutical companies and the medical insurance industry is not going to take that money straight out of them. UBI is going to be deemed obsolete.
Yeah, watch the man. Sorry, he said a lot of Yang Gang people went to Trump, and they said they talk about it openly. Yeah, I've seen them people. Like, how you go from Yang to Trump? What? Trump is in charge on the opioid crisis. I can't say that. But that crisis is going on, and that was big part of Yang's campaign. Sorry, Jay, I let you go right. But that was a big part of Yang's campaign was fighting the opioid crisis, and Trump reigned during it, and he took the side of big pharma over the crisis that harmed his own voters. So how can you go Yang to Trump? These people are idiots. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, it's just about being anti-establishment, or sounding anti-establishment. It's not really about being anti-establishment. And so the idea of universal basic income was great to me. It's that the taxation of it wasn't progressive to me.
Exactly. And
so that's the only reason why I was for UBI, but I wasn't for Yang's UBI.
Yeah. Same here. I said I'm for a progressive UBI, and someone in the comments said, and that's literally a perfect way to segue to that. Because simple average person, he said we already have a UBI. It's called Social Security. All you gotta do is just expand that to the people, and that's literally what you can do. It's Social Security for all. And a lot of people, people are like, oh, we can't do it that way because it costs too much. Are you a right winger? Are you kidding? Like, we spent all this money on war. Like, you see, they gave $5 trillion to corporations during this pandemic, but we don't got enough money to spend Social Security to all our people. That don't make sense at face value. We can easily afford that. Plus, then you start arguing against yourself because Yang people, they will argue that we need UBI because the UBI will boost the economy. So I'm like, okay, so we have a UBI that paid through a progressive way. Wouldn't that help build the economy as well? A lot of good ones did get that, but then the Trump leaning, the right leaning Yang Gang people, it's like, how do you not understand that simple concept?
It's idiotic because people don't think we spend $1 trillion on defense. We spend over $700 billion in the defense budget, but newsflash, a lot of the expenses that are for nuclear weapons is under the Department of Energy. So therefore, that expenses for nuclear, which should be in defense, is not in defense. So really, we're spending about $1 trillion in defense.
Yeah, Zoha said. Year. I remember I saw that story at the time. I don't have it saved. I can Google it. But Zoha said at one point it was $1 trillion a day. I think that's the story when they said the Fed was pumping that much money into loans to Wall Street banks and for bailouts to their corporate executives and their loans. Let's see if I can find it. But that was one of the people in the comments said. But go ahead, bro. But that backs up your point.
Yeah. So all the arguments that Yang Gang made about UBI, about you have stay-at-home moms who take care of their kids, or people who may be taking care of their parents but they don't get paid for it, things like that. I got that, and I agree. That's cool. But the thing is that I'm going to tax those billionaires who've been taking all the wealth from us. I'm not going to tax the people even more who don't have the money to pay that tax. I'm not
Amen.
going to do that.
Exactly.
I
And
want to tax the Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and the Elon Musks
yeah,
because they're the ones who have way more wealth than they know what to do with.
yeah, our target should be clear. And RV said leftists can build on the UBI. It's the fucking perfect time for it while shit's locked down and no one's vaccinated. Yang had a good few ideas, but for president, fuck no. And I agree with that. Like I forgot who said this, and what I said earlier. Why doesn't Andrew Yang run for Senate? I'll support Yang for Senate. Will you? Like he progressive enough for me to support for Senate because we need more progressive senators. But I do give Yang credit for this.
He's probably one of the furthest right that I would go.
Yeah. For Senate is a different game. Yeah. Like for Senate, it depends who's in the race. Like if he had a progressive running against him in the Senate, hell no. Like if you had like a Mondaire Jones like candidate, Jamal Bowman, Charles Booker, Cory Bush, like that kind of candidate, hell no, I would never support him over them. But against the standard Democrat, I'll support him in the Senate race against the standard Democrat. Like I'll vote for that. I mean, just a vote. I don't think I would like
or him.
I wouldn't like actively campaign for him. But like I said, everyone know what your vote is, what it's worth. I don't think you should give away your vote. I voted Green Party this time, but I think my one vote is worth Andrew Yang being a Democrat, standard dude. That's what I think.
I'd pick him over a Republican, definitely.
Yeah, it depends. There are a lot of things. It depends though. Zaho says he's Yang too, so he's cool. Zaho is hell. He been dropping some good comments. He say Yang, so like I said, there's a good Yang. Like I know Jake the Human. He's not a giant account, but he's a good friend of mine on Twitter. He's a more progressive minded Yang person. Cause he like soon Yang wasn't about to win. He was Bernie supporter. He's the one to me. Like I said, you see some good ones, but I'm dressing the people that like the Trump supporters, like because we all seen them. Anyone on Twitter and people who follow the campaign, people either wouldn't support the progressive candidate, or they were hardcore Biden stands, or they was Trump fans. And for me, like even if you take our criticism of Yang away, if you take all of Yang's positives, it makes no sense for you to be a Trump supporter or Joe Biden supporter if you like what Yang represented or what Yang was saying. Because Yang was like, I want human-centered capitalism. What the fuck is a human-centered capitalism about Donald Trump? During the pandemic, he let people go homeless during the winter, not taking care. They came and passed a COVID relief package. Like the Senate, Republicans and Nancy Pelosi, they came and do that, take care of the people, and you are human.
It was never about policy.
Yeah, you say you support human-centered capitalism, but you support the same people who failed during this pandemic and during a capitalist system that crashes every 10 years, right?
Yeah. So it was never about policy, dude. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's my thought. That's my thought on Yang, and I think most people most people who that's left of center will agree with that. Like I think we gave Yang enough credit, but and it doesn't hurt that he sold out and like started going on CNN and not like he went on CNN and lit the place on fire. He brought up good places on time, but he went on CNN just to be a Democratic talking point machine. That way he went. So it's not like he went on there to be, because I don't get mad at people going on corporate news. Like I don't get mad at Glenn Greenwald and Jimmy Dore going on Fox News. I don't get mad at that. I'm like, what are you saying on there though? Like, are you going on there to back their claims up, or are you fighting against them? Are you debunking them? And Yang had some things where he backed up his UBI, but mostly he didn't challenge like the power at all. So that's my spill on that. So
It like for instance, look at when Bernie went on Fox.
Yeah, Bernie killed it on Fox.
He won the room. He won him.
And that's why they didn't want to go on Fox, because low key they wanted to give him bad advice, but they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't go on Fox News." But honestly, they
probably
knew
Jeff
that
Weaver gave him that advice. Like, don't go on.
Shakir, and Jeff Weaver. But there's a lot of Democrats didn't want to do it because they knew it would be a good move, but you can bring over the working class people. I think that's the future of the progressive movement, is win more of those people over, right? I think that's something that we got to do, and that's what the People Party has been talking about as well. So let's see, any more questions in? Because we about 2.5 hours in. I appreciate anyone that been watching and all the engaging chat. They was pretty much talking about Yang. We talking about here. But it was a good time. I think we had. I think I can save the other two stories for tomorrow. I did this one. This one will be quick. Actually, it's funny. We were just talking about this one. I was just looking at 60%. I don't think I had to share screen. Actually, I got on my stream. 60% support Biden canceling up to $50,000 in student loan debt per person. So once again, these stories always come out. They always report it. Like this came out yesterday. Like this is brand new. 60%. That's a solid majority.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the means tested program.
Yep.
And who are these people that don't support it? The 40% do not. Why? Why? And I remember those people that was like, I worked hard and I paid my student loan off, so how should I do that for others? That's just as stupid as a slave. Like, well, I was a slave for 20 years of my life, so why should we free the slaves? That's stupid. That's stupid. What were you about to say?
Yeah. I had COVID-19 and I got through it, so why should other people be able to get a vaccine?
Yeah, I went through COVID, so that's funny. So why should we get a vaccine if I went through COVID? That's like, yeah. People literally say that and they repeat it on the corporate news like it's a good talking point. Like, bro, y'all are idiots. That's the point when you realize that people in politics, like when you grow up, you like, man, they went in politics. They went to Harvard, Yale, and they really smart. But then when you grow up and you read politics, you're like, man, it's just nepotism. Like these people are idiots.
Yeah,
because they're dumb because they fought for it. Because the people I'm talking about, the people that make $100,000 a year. Like these are the people that are opposition, like the Pete Buttigieg supporters, the Hillary Clinton fans, like those people are opposition. These people are well educated and they fought for easy to debunk propaganda. But like
because they're educated fools.
You educated, you got a great job, you make all this money, but you don't know that there's a study that showed that student loan debt cancellation will boost the economy, boost wages. Why don't you care about that? Why don't you care about that? Someone explain it to me. 66% of Republicans oppose the measure. Why? Red states pay the highest percentage in student loan debt. Like they are voting against their interest. Like I mean that's a classic argument. Why do people vote against their interest? But it's not like they have. It'd be one thing if you vote against your interest, but you doing it because you know it'd be on the best behalf of society. You're like, man, I wish I can I'll pay my student loans off. But man, society would crash if I did that. No, it's the exact opposite. The exact opposite. All the studies say that would be the best thing to do, and you guys are not supporting it. Someone explain it to me. But go ahead, Jay. That was my little spill. My last little story we do before we close here.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because then, people, somehow they can't equate paying not having that money to spend on that bill means that, like, if for instance, if you're a small business owner and if you don't want people to have their student loan debts canceled, that means you don't want people to have extra money to come to your business to spend.
Exactly. And look at this. How this is a damning statement, isn't it? Once again, we always rail against boomers, and once again, I got love for my progressive Bernie supporting boomers, the 2%.
Yeah.
Bernie got like 3% of the boomer vote. So people like not all boomers. Like, bro, I'm literally looking at the statistics. I know there's some good ones, but statistically, you guys suck. 3%. That's why Bernie lost. But look at this. 73% of 18 to 34-year-olds are in favor of canceling student debt. So those people who are our generation, mostly left behind by capitalism. Like the older generation, the amount of student debt they paid is a fraction of what we pay now. Like there's been so much markup. Like back in the day, you can go to public college and only have like a few $1,000s in debt. Back in the day, because inflation, because of corrupt systems and legislation that allowing price gouges, now we pay way more student debt than any other generation ever. So keep that in mind. So 73% of our generation, which is like what the fuck, 27% of our generation support. And then you get to Gen X. And they still pretty high because Gen X still got a lay point. Okay, 68%. And then once you get to boomers, 65-year-olds, 50 to 64-year-olds, only half support. So the first thing I think about when I see that stat is because we saw that a large percent of Republicans are against it. So if there's half of boomers that against it, that means there must be Democratic boomers that are against it. Why? How can you call yourself a Democrat and you against student loan cancellation? Like, and the funny thing that I don't understand, like liberals are like, well, I'm in politics, I'm fine for my kid. Like, you fine for your kid, but you don't care about climate change. You got a grandchild that you allowing to pay high student loan debt. What? Like, you can watch your kids struggle. I was talking to one of my friends about that. I don't want to blow their information up, but you will literally see them struggling with stuff like student loan debt, with medical debt, for example. But and then you oppose the solution to a problem that will help your family or your friend. How does that make sense? Gee, all right. Let's get to the chat and I gotta end it. I'm ranting all day, huh? What do you think? What are your thoughts, Jay?
I think we have a disease of individualism in this country.
That's perfect way to put it. That's exactly what MLK said. Rugged individualism for working class people. Insidious MG on Twitch said they see education as a personal mistake. That is so damning. That's such a damning statement because it's true. Because what conservatives say, they say, oh, well, if you didn't want to get student debt, you should never got an education. Are you real?
And it's like,
bro, you literally, like, the studies show that you need a college degree to make it just as much as a high school diploma back in the 70s and the 80s. So what do conservatives say? Oh, you can't complain about capitalism because you got to lift yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to work hard and you get ahead. So we work hard, and since we poor, and we come from a poor background, we had to take student loans so we can advance our career. So we do that, and then you say, "Oh well, that's your fault. You should never took loans out." Are you saying what are you saying? That we should stay poor? That we shouldn't try to climb? And I'll let you go right to this, but I want to make one final point because I'm writing a paper on this, and I did say about this yesterday. Studies show, and once again, this shows the racism of capitalism. Even with a college degree, black men with a college degree make less than white people with a high school diploma. And when you read a study that breaks this down, it's very simple. There's no meritocracy in this country. You get your jobs through contacts. So what that means? So you can be a white person who once again, white families have 15 times more wealth than black families. So they usually mingle with the upper class. They're more likely to be able to mingle with upper class. And so they're more likely to get a job through contacts. And so you have someone who's not incompetent, once again, a.k.a. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son. How did Hunter Biden get that job on that energy board? Making $200,000. Well, he was making like $60,000 a month, something like that. With no energy background whatsoever. How do you get that? Through his contacts. So that's how it works. So that's why you can be a black man with a college degree, but then statistically they literally make the same amount as white people without a college degree. And you want to get mad at people for black, and then it's even worse because the study they talk about black people with a high school diploma, and that one get even more depressing because that's what we can talk about a little bit later because we going a little long here, but that's why like talking points about. Oh, if you get student loan debt, you should have known better. Bro, the people have no choice. We don't have the generation wealth that you guys have that can pay for our college. And God bless the white allies and the progressives who understand that. Once again, solidarity. Once again, look at the part. And on a positive note, there are a large percent of American voters that believe we should do this.
Yeah.
And we win in the ideas at the end of the day. Then, once again, the progressive ideas are winning all the exit polling throughout the course of the election. I'll cover a few more comments now. I really got to go. Man, I'm having a good time, though. Comments engaged. I think that's most of the story. I think I got like 2 more stories. I think I can cover that tomorrow. I got a sub-comment here. What's your opinion on reparations and the African descendant of slavery movement? I'm obviously supportive of that because as a libertarian socialist, I see the justification for that. I see like Marianne Williamson lays out the justification for reparations really well. I'm gonna cover that on stream tomorrow, so I can do a comprehensive breakdown on that. But once again, as a libertarian socialist, I say we should have government programs where they justify themselves, and Marianne Williamson does a good job of laying that out. What I will advise people on doing is to focus on, because we are in such a capitalist, harsh system that we need aid right now. we need to also try to focus on ideas that will uplift everyone as well. So, for example, I say Medicare for All is the most pro-black policy platform that anyone can run on. Why do I say that? Mm-hmm. Because not only does Medicare for All obviously boost wages, it gives healthcare to everyone, because indigenous people are actually people who are most undercovered. Latinos are really high as well. But black people suffer the most from medical debt. We pay for most out of pocket for health costs. We are the people that we are less likely to go to the doctor. That one thing that caused my grandpa, he didn't catch his cancer early enough. There are a lot of black people who don't catch their ailments early enough because we are culturally programmed to not go to the doctor, because of course it makes sense. We don't got money. Why would we pay for this system that's going to get us in medical bankruptcy, which a lot of people do, which is why we are most likely going to medical bankruptcy, and that's why black women pay the most for healthcare costs among delivering babies. And despite us paying all this money, we got the worst health outcomes. We got the lowest life expectancy, and we got the highest baby mortality rate out of any other race. So how can you make the argument for me that there's any other platform, including reparations, that is more pro-black than Medicare for All? So I am pro-reparations, but we need to advance for Medicare for All, and we need to advance for a lot of the other progressive policies as well. Because the mistake I see a lot of black people make, they focus only on reparations. They focus only on these small mountains. Well, to be fair, a lot, like if you look at the numbers, most black people our age do support Medicare for All, so I do gotta be careful saying that. So they do support Medicare for All and reparations. But if you support reparations without supporting Medicare for All, what the hell are you doing? Like black liberals, I'm talking to all the black liberals right now, all of them. So if you support reparations but you don't support Medicare for All, what's gonna happen? You get your reparation check, and then you go in medical bankruptcy, and then you give your reparation check to Big Pharma. Think, what are you doing? If you don't believe in defunding the police, if you don't believe in revamping our fascist police state, you get your reparation check, and then you get killed by a cop. Like, you guys, like, reparations is a very important policy point, but you gotta tackle the whole system as a whole. But once again, I'm gonna do a whole segment on this so I get some nuance in this, because I do strongly agree with reparations. But that's my whole take as a whole. But go ahead, Jay. What's your take on that?
Oh, I'm just gonna add to your point. What good is reparations going to do if we don't have a housing for all policy where landlords are going to know that you got a reparation check just by color of your skin, and then they're going to raise the rate of your rent through the roof, and then take all your reparation money? No. What good is reparations going to do if you got student loan debt out the ass? It's not going to work. So the thing is that I saw someone say that we need to do reparations.
Because that's such a great comment. Because they said reparations is a great idea for landlords without us making any other changes. I mean, there's once again, reparations is a great policy idea with other progressive ideas. But if you just do reparations as a capitalist approach, you just paying landlords, because landlords are going to jack up the rent. That's a great point. And that's such a great point.
Yeah. And so my thing is it's like, okay, I'll put it like this. You just putting water in a bucket isn't going to do much if that bucket still has holes in it. You got to plug up those holes first, then you can put water in the bucket. If you don't, then it's still going to empty the bucket anyway. So we have to plug up these holes. These holes are things like, I mean, can we really do anything without saving this environment? We can't spend reparations checks if we're dead. Come on now. So, truth be told, first we need to, plug up these holes that a capitalist system has put, and then we can repair what has been done as far as slavery. And I get the people who are ADOS who are saying, oh, but they've been telling us to wait. We can't wait any longer. You know what? Here's the problem. The corporations would be glad if we got reparations checks while this capitalist system is still the way it is.
Yep.
They would be so happy. The debt collectors would be going nuts.
My good friend Meg said that was a great analogy.
Yeah, it would be, you would be getting that reparations check in one hand, and then you'd be paying these motherfuckers in another.
Exactly.
And then guess what? It's gone. That's what we don't want. I want reparations, and I want you to be able to have that reparations money, and I want it to carry over generation to generation to generation. This is what it really means. And the thing is that there's some people who just don't get that. And the thing is that it's not just having money for your basic needs. It's also having disposable income to either invest and to grow whatever you have, or to be able to pass it down to generation, like white people.
Yep, exactly. Now, like I said, Matt, that was a great analogy. That's a great little rant to send us off. We're about 3 hours in. I do want to answer this last question from my one of my commenters, Master Nelson. I did cover this a few times. He said, "Can you define libertarian socialism for me?" Because that's what I like to call myself. I have a lot of friends. It's crazy. If you asked me 10 years ago if I had a lot of friends with communists and shit like that, I was like, what? But now I got a lot of friends that are communists, dude. I love communists. Communists are fucking awesome. But
yeah, they are.
I don't call myself a communist. People are like, why? I'm like, just because I don't advocate for that. Like, that could be the next step. Like, that's what they said. Like, socialism is step 2 communism. Like, I just think we gotta be tactical in what we try to push for right now. But how I define libertarian socialism is very simple. Noam Chomsky laid it out really well. It's what I said earlier a few times in the stream. Actually, I said a libertarian socialist approach is government that justifies itself. So we call myself a libertarian socialist because I can outflank right wingers. The same right wingers that say they believe in small government are the same one that's still pushing the drug war. What's bigger government than a nanny state, government thugs that are pulling people over for dime bags? So you say you're for freedom. Oh, I'm a freedom right winger guy, patriot. No, you're not. You for the NSA spying on your citizens. Where Edward Snowden was trending today. I say he's an American hero. That tweet did pretty well. Because he exposed that our government is spying on us in violation of the 4th Amendment. And I'm against that because I'm actually a libertarian. You're not. You're a fraud, you right-wingers who call yourself libertarians. You guys not. Because you guys are for the NSA. Yeah. You guys are for a giant police budget. I laid out how defund the police is inherently a libertarian socialist idea because your giant police budget is not justifying itself.
Yeah, you're actually asking for smaller government.
Yeah, actually. But
as far as municipalities.
Yeah, we are actually asking for smaller government. That's where the libertarian part come from. The socialism part come from because what I say justifies itself because, once again, I say Medicare for all boosts the economy and it boosts wages. Canceling student loan debt boosts the economy. So these things literally justify themselves when you implement those policies. So conservatives say, oh, you can't have Medicare for all covered by our taxpayer money. That's big government. No, that's our resources, you bootlicker. That's our money. We are a society, you fucking bootlicker. That's our money. You trying to say we can't spend our money on healthcare? Fuck off. That's why they can't debate me because I'm like, bro, you say you smart government. You say you are anti-corruption. You say you fiscally conservative, but Medicare for all is shown to save money, but you want to prop up a healthcare system that's literally more expensive than the policy that I'm proposing. So who's really the fiscally conservative one?
Yeah.
That's how y'all flank them.
Policy is fiscally conservative.
Yeah, exactly.
If you end homelessness, it's fiscally conservative.
So that's a libertarian socialism in a nutshell. But I appreciate everyone for watching. What was you about to say? I'll give you the last word, Jay, and then we log off here.
My definition for libertarian socialism also includes anti-authoritarianism. Anti-authoritarianism.
Let them know.
So as far as imperialism concerned, I do not want our soldiers in other countries bombing other people for their resources. I also don't want police in the streets shooting at people, no matter who they are, for unjustifiable reasons that is outside of the realms of danger. So as far as the authoritarian aspect, because there are a lot of liberals who are authoritarian, and this is why they like people like Joe Biden, because that's a great point. The tough on crime. Yeah. So I am also anti-authoritarian. Not that I don't want some authority. I'm okay with some authority within reason. But There is some authority that encroaches upon the rights of so many people. As one friend told me years ago, true freedom means that you do not encroach upon the rights of others. I am for freedom. And so that freedom means that you do not take somebody's life unnecessarily, especially when they are not in threat of yours.
Amen.
So I am a libertarian socialist in that way.
That's perfect. That's another great way to explain libertarian socialism. And Meg said we ended with her because she was my good friend. She said we need to have a conversation. Thank you for this subscription, RV. I appreciate it. She said we can end climate change because ending climate change is the fiscally conservative position, and I love that framing.
It is
because that's what AOC does a good job framing climate change. Because AOC says we gotta support a Green New Deal now because we don't support a Green New Deal and tackle climate change. It's gonna cost us even more 15, 20 years from now. Because climate change is expected to cost us trillions in infrastructure damage, and people being replaced. And food from crop shortages. Like right wingers, they think short term. Like it'll destroy the fishers market in Japan. Like Japan is already struggling with the ocean acidification. So a lot of fish species are dying out or they're not edible. So this thing is not just affecting America; it's affecting the global economy. So if we don't address climate change now, Green New Deal costs a lot of money, but if we don't do that now, it's going to cost us more later. So it is the fiscally conservative position. But anyway, thank you guys for the description and follows. Please support the show if you enjoy this conversation. My homie Jay. Like I said, I want to be streaming more often, streaming every day. And as a citizen journalist, I want to get the mic to my friends, my homies, and so you guys can hear from a true leftist perspective they don't allow on corporate news and cable news. So. If you want to keep watching, subscribe. I'll be doing this usually every afternoon, Monday through Friday. I usually will announce like if I do a special weekend stream. Just keep up. Follow my Twitter on Socialist MMA as well. I always tweet out when I'm about to stream, usually beforehand. But thank you everyone for watching. This is my boy Jay, and usually these videos you can find them on Progressive.